favorite. Make Tasty Cake part of your summer. Tasty Cake. Accept no substitutes.
Helping your inner circle prepare for emergencies can start in many ways. Put together an emergency kit with WipeWall. Create a family communication plan with your tita. Remind Bai to keep a backup battery charged. It all starts with a simple step, telling those you care about to be ready for the worst. So start a conversation and plan for emergencies together. Get more tips at ready.gov/start. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Let's take a moment to breathe. Deep inhale. Extend your spine. Remain focused on what you're doing. If safe to do so, exhale slowly, leaning to one side. Inhale back to center. If safe to do so, exhale slowly to the opposite side. Find mental health resources at loveyourmindtoday.org. This message is brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
Weather is sponsored by Ashley Furniture.
Shop now and celebrate Ashley's 250 hours of savings event. Save up to 20% on all furniture or take advantage of 60 months no interest financing. Plus, score incredible $250 doorbusters. You'll find unbeatable value on the styles you love during Ashley's 250 hours of savings event. Happening now.
Dangerously hot weather sticking with us this evening. Overnight, we're only going to get down to around 82. Tomorrow, 101 is the high. Heavy thunderstorm possible late in the afternoon. It's going to feel like 109. Sunday, high 92. Rain and thunderstorms possible in the afternoon.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans.
When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer.
When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org. Brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
From ABC News, I'm Chuck Sievertson. Defining patriotism as something more than just loving your country that includes those who criticize sometimes. New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani marking America's 250th birthday tomorrow.
There are some who respond to those who ask for more from America with a simple refrain. Love it or leave it, they say. But patriotism has never been about pretending our nation is without flaws. Patriotism is every act of righteous dissent.
Mamdani talking about what some over the years have called American exceptionalism.
America is exceptional because here, nothing is fixed into place. The frontier may be closed, we may have walked on the moon, but the work of fulfilling the values first enshrined in the Declaration of Independence, that work endures, and it belongs to us all.
The New York mayor saying that those who try to divide Americans are using the oldest trick in politics. It's so hot, this PA announcement at Washington's National Mall in the past hour.
Attention fairgoers, the event has been postponed.
Telling people to leave the Great American State Fair because it's too hot, 100 degrees. Real feel? Don't ask. They plan to reopen at 5 p.m. Eastern. A man's charged in the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool mess. U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro was asked by a reporter.
Did he have any tools or was it just his bare hands?
Right now, we believe it's his bare hands, both hands.
So does that indicate in your belief that it was probably damaged before, or do you believe that he...
Oh, he damaged it.
Further, but do you believe it had already been damaged before?
He damaged the pool.
Attorneys for David Hearn say that he's innocent and a scapegoat for the administration's failures. Federal appeals court clears the way for the Trump administration to get the immediate replacement of the slavery exhibit in Philadelphia. The city is appealing. There is an increase in ads in Brazil for bets on World Cup games and a hike also in the number of people seeking care for gambling addiction. You're listening to ABC News.
Hot summer days and high energy bills are on the way. Upgrade your home's old leaky windows this month with Window Nation at 50% off all window styles. Yes, 50% off new, beautiful, energy-efficient windows, plus zero down, zero interest, and no payments for 2 years. Call now, 866-200-8670 or windownation.com. In select markets, trust our family of brands, New South Window and ArmorView. That's 866-200-8670 or windownation.com to book a consultation.
Ever wonder why you have insurance for your car or home, but not your digital life? Meet WebRoot Total Protection, your digital bodyguard that includes antivirus, identity protection, VPN, cloud backup, and more. With plans for individuals and families, WebRoot takes the guessing game out of cybersecurity so you can get back to living your best life online. Go to webroot.com/protect and get 60% off today. That's webroot.com/protect to get 60% off today. Live a better digital life with WebRoot because peace of mind shouldn't be optional.
Massive security plans in New York, Washington, and Philadelphia for America's 250th July 4th celebration. ABC News contributor, retired Secret Service agent Don Mihalik, calling the threat situation unprecedented.
Lone wolf actors, foreign state actors, cyber threats, all coming together on this birthday that America is trying to celebrate. And for our foreign adversaries, it feels like they would love to disrupt the American birthday and cause a disruption to embarrass America.
He says officials are also handling the heat situation. Conservative politician Keiko Fujimori is declared winner of the presidential runoff in Peru, dominated by people's concerns over surging crime. In Venezuela, crews from around the world are digging to find survivors of last week's back-to-back earthquakes. International Red Cross Emergency Response Director Rafael Velasquez Garcia.
Now we have to reconstruct people's livelihoods. We have to help people help themselves, making sure that they have access. Our people on the ground, our teams on the ground, are telling us that they're considering a vector response. They're worried about water and sanitation, lack of access to clean water.
What the Red Cross official calls the golden window that closes for search and rescue operations is starting to get smaller and smaller. Ahead of their wedding tonight at New York's Madison Square Garden, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce announcing a donation of $26 million to 20 charities across the U.S., food banks, children's hospitals, music education programs, and more. Chuck Severson, ABC News.
Hot summer days and high energy bills are on the way. Upgrade your home's old leaky windows this month with Window Nation at 50% off all window styles. Yes, 50% off new, beautiful, energy-efficient windows, plus 0 down, 0 interest, and no payments for 2 years. Call now, 866-200-8670 or windownation.com. In select markets, trust our family of brands, New South Window and ArmorView. That's 866-200-8670 or windownation.com to book a consultation.
Company weekday mornings 6 till 10.
Some of these problems are easily correctable. We could see significant improvement. Nothing is ever absolute. Nothing could ever be 100% yada yada. But man, we could have so many different better things if we just had that same mentality of, oh, we're having guests, companies coming over. Let's get it together and make it look like we have our house in order. When we know Philadelphia as a city does not have their house in order.
Start your day with Kale and Company. Weekday mornings 6 till 10 on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
We all want our kids to grow up safe and healthy, so we show them how. With honest conversations that let them know what we expect. That's especially important when it comes to alcohol and other drugs. And when it comes to pain medications, opioids, they need to know that they should never be shared with friends or family. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
You are not your diagnosis.
And vision loss does not define you.
Your drive defines you.
And we are here to let those challenged with blinding retinal diseases know
that we are driven too.
To be a beacon of strength,
a champion of courage,
an advocate for hope.
And we are stronger together.
We fund.
We fight.
We win.
We are the Foundation
Fighting Blindness.
Join the fight at fightingblindness.org.
WPHT, HD, WOGL, HD3, Philadelphia. From the Piazza Auto Group Studios, experience the power of one with 8 brands and 25 locations. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Free speech lives here. The WPHT Afternoon Show.
The afternoon show is here again.
and he knows the crew. Matt and Justin, that is. Join Tom this Tuesday and Wednesday on Talk Radio. 1210 WPHT!
1210 WPHT. This is Tom Azelby in the afternoon show. It's great to be here. I love the afternoon show, 3 to 6 with my producer, Justin Otero. How are you, Justin?
It's another beautiful day in the city of brotherly love.
It sure is. July 4th weekend.
It's that 250's right there.
Right. And, and matter of fact, that's a great opening for me because I have a show tomorrow at 8 to 9, the Tom Azelby Show. And I'm going to really dig in to July 4th. I got a historian coming on. We're going to talk about 1776. And believe me, it's going to be interesting stuff, not stuff that's going to put you to sleep. And then I'm going to talk about some Americans that have done great things that you all know, but you don't know what they did. And I'm going to have fun with that tomorrow. It is July 4th. You get pounded with politics every day. Tomorrow, 8 to 9, I'm going to give you a little bit of break, but I can't help myself, so I will be talking about some politics. Justin, you're back there alone today. Your co-producer, Matt DeSantis, is out today, so you're going to be flying this ship by yourself.
Shocker, shocker. DeSantis taking off a Friday.
Yeah, and you know what? We have the Zillennial Roundtable, which is because you're a Generation Z on the cusp. I got all that. Next week, I'm here for 3 days, 3 to 6. You and Matt, we're going to be doing a lot of roundtabling. I'm looking forward to that.
I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. All right, let me tell you about my guest today. So at 4 o'clock, I got Ron Mattis coming on, and he's going to talk about school vouchers in Florida. And let me tell you, the reason I want him on, because he's with the Florida Step Up program, but it's just school vouchers. I want to have him on because I'm a Floridian, but I live in South Jersey and I live in Florida, but I'm a Florida resident and I do more than 6 months in a day. But I get one of these vouchers. Everyone in Florida gets these vouchers. Even Tiger Woods, as much as he's worth, and he lives in Jupiter, he gets a voucher too, because I know his kids go to private school down there too. So and let me tell you, it helps everybody. So what they tell us up here that it's going to ruin public schools and everything, no, it makes them better in Florida. So why can't that work for New Jersey and Philadelphia? I'm going to get into that with Ron Mattis. The next guy I got coming on, and it is the 4th of July, so I'm not bringing in the heavy political hitters today. So at 5 p.m., I got Philip K. Howard, and he wrote a book, and it's a short book. It's called Saving Can Do, How to Revive the Spirit of America. And listen, he's got some great ideas. And let me tell you, this guy is a smart guy. He wrote it, and I didn't know this. Justin, you'd be interested in this. I asked him to come on as a guest. I haven't gotten to read the book yet. But I was reading people talking about it. They were posting stuff about this book, about how red tape and bureaucracy has killed America. After I invite him on, he says yes. I look him up, I find him, I get him as a guest. Then I realized that he wrote the 1995 bestseller on the New York Times called, what was the name of that book? The Death of Common Sense, which was a huge book. Now,
really?
Yeah, that was a very big book. And basically, it said that book back in 95 is how the law was suffocating America. And he is a lawyer, and he is at one of the biggest firms. It's called Covington and Burling. And I was out with a lawyer last night. We were talking about that firm specifically. And that is one of the most powerful firms in the United States. So, you know what? I want to have him on. I don't want to have him as a lawyer because their lawyers make over $2,000 an hour. So don't get in any trouble, Justin, because that's a big bill. Because you're going to become friends with him when he comes on the show. You're running the gym. It's late night. You're sitting in the can. They give you one phone call. You're going to call him. $2,000 an hour. Get ready. All right, what else do I have? Okay, I was just taking a few notes before I came on. I got a lot to talk about, and I got to talk fast because I got so much to talk about in 3 hours. But that U.S. Air Force guy, that Major Jason Watson, that went on the Capitol steps and he, impeached Trump and J.D. Vance, and then, of course, they arrested him. This is not organic. This guy is a grassroots activist who happens to be a major in the United States Air Force. Now, hopefully he is he was arrested for doing that protest out there because he didn't have a permit or whatever, but he should be court-martialed. And here's my fear. You're going to start seeing a lot more of this in the military. And they're going to be they're people in the military that used to try to say as little as possible until they retired. But I think you're going to see this happen. I think the left is going to promote it, the activist groups. This guy is probably getting wrestled over by the Democratic Socialists of America and the traditional Democrats. They're probably arguing over who's going to get to run this guy once he gets out of the federal prison or the military prison at Leavenworth. But he in a weird, there's a return on his investment for doing that un-American thing on saying to impeach Trump, the commander-in-chief. Not a good idea, but my concern is you're going to see a lot more of it. Regardless of what happens to him, he's going to have a ton of support. He's going to get a lot of support. So, but let me tell you, the guy has put a big bullseye on his back from other people in the military, and even guys in the military who might be right of center or a little left of center or real right. Most of them, a large majority, do not like this behavior. As a major in the United States Air Force coming out and say that. And he should build a security squad of a bunch of girls with purple hair because he's going to need it. And I'm not promoting anything happens to him. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying he really it's a two-way street. He put a big bullseye on his back for people that are really disgusted by this behavior. But at the same time, he could be an ambitious person that looking to make waves in the Democratic world. And there's a lot of return on investment for that behavior. So we'll see what happens with him. The next thing I just wanted to talk about was Ukraine. And this is a last-minute discussion. But their drone game over in that war that, all the Democrats who had the flags out on the porches, I don't see as many anymore. I don't see them talking about it as much anymore because Trump's president. And if there's a good outcome in a year or a year and a half during an election year, that's not going to work out for them. But anyway, I thought this was interesting. The drones and the mapping and the systems, which America has been heavily involved in, we're doing a lot of testing there, just like we do with Israel with the hardware. Anybody that's been in building products, you got to test it, retrofit it, redesign it. And when you got people using it in live environments, that is a huge benefit. It's a big money saver, and you become very effective at building a product. Anyone who's ever built a product, you got to keep working on it before you can bring it to market and keep improving it. That's how it works, and that's what they're doing with these drones. They've done so well that oil production and gasoline production with these drones attacking refineries and where the manufacturing and all these facilities and infrastructure used to pull oil and make gasoline, they're all getting hit by these drones, that there's a big gas shortage over in Russia. And very clever if it is working. It is working. Matter of fact, I saw General Petraeus. I was over at the Union League. I'm not a member there. I find it a fascinating place because I love history. But I was at the Union League. Someone invited me to go for lunch. I've done a lot of these lunches where they have a speaker, but it was General Petraeus. I was never a big fan. I don't want to go through his whole history, but he was a big nation-building general, believed in it, was the CIA director, got booted out, I think, under Obama because he had an affair with his biographer. There's a lot of history to him, but let me tell you, he knows a lot more than I know because he's on the inside, and he knows a lot more than a lot of people. And his feeling was that this war, which is now mostly being funded by Europe, thank God. We're still living up to some of the commitments we made under Biden, but Europe is now invested in this war, and they're writing the checks, where when you had Joe Biden, we wrote all the checks. We were the cat's meow for Ukraine. Whatever they want, we gave it to them for free. But that has changed under Trump, but they're still getting their funding. And according to Petraeus, he said he could see this coming to, and I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I heard the speech. I thought he said in a year and a half, this thing might go to a peace settlement somehow. So that's good news. But getting back to my point, you don't hear Democrats talking about the Ukraine war or us knocking out their oil and gas facilities, because if it keeps going in this direction, it's bad for Democrats in an election year. So we'll keep an eye on that. With that, I got more to talk about, but When we come back, I want to talk about the Riverline Light Rail from Trenton to Camden. You're probably like, why does he want to talk about that? Because I want to tell you how bad you've been ripped off. We'll be back after this break.
You know what I love? American-made products, baby. That's right. It's Rich Zioli. American-made products, and that's what you get from Emmons Roofing and Siding. Owens Corning shingles are made in New Jersey. Certainteed siding made right outside of Philly. Provia windows and doors handcrafted in Ohio. And because Emmons is platinum with Owens Corning, your roof comes with a lifetime workmanship warranty. That's accountability on American-made quality from an American company right in our backyard. EmmonsRoofing.com, EmmonsRoofing.com.
Hi, this is Larry Steinhaus, and I want to let you know that I buy houses. I buy houses from people that may be a tired landlord, maybe somebody who's having trouble selling their house, or maybe someone who needs to sell their house quickly. Well, all you need to do is call 855-939-1137. That's 855-939-1137, and I promise to answer the phone and help you with your situation. That's right, your house may be cluttered. It may be a house that a relative left you, or it may just be a house you just want to get rid of. 855-939-1137.
When it comes to affordable term life insurance, everyone's whistling the Big Lou tune. If you're over 50, maybe a bit porky, or have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost about $200 a month. Even if you're not in perfect health, call Big Lou, because he specializes in finding big chunks of affordable term life insurance for just about everyone. Don't let diabetes or other health glitches keep you from owning $500,000 to $1 million or more of term life insurance. For affordable term life insurance, call Big Lou. Don't hesitate. Call 800-700-6898, 800-700-6898, or visit biglou.com.
Call Big Lou, don't hesitate. 800-700-6898. Call Big Lou, don't hesitate. 800-700-6898. Visit biglou.com.
Have you ever felt like you were living just a B or B plus life? It's so dangerous to live that, more dangerous than a B minus or a C plus life, because when you're living a B or B plus life, you don't change it. You think it's good enough. Is it? I'm Susie Welch. I host a podcast called Becoming You. People think, okay, an A plus life is not available to me, but there is a way. We are all in the process of becoming ourselves. Listen to Becoming You wherever you get your podcasts.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Tech.
Demand is rapidly growing for temperature-controlled freight facilities, and that's prompting UPS to invest $48 million in the expansion of its global network of cold chain facilities to handle that demand. UPS says the investment will support the shipment of biologics and advanced therapies requiring controlled environments, with that market expected to grow to more than $39 billion by 2033. I'm Jason Brooks.
Helping your inner circle prepare for emergencies can start in many ways. Put together an emergency kit with WipeWall. Create a family communication plan with your tita. Remind Bai to keep a backup battery charged. It all starts with a simple step, telling those you care about to be ready for the worst. So start a conversation and plan for emergencies together. Get more tips at ready.gov/start. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad
Let me tell you something about insurance. When you sign your insurance policy, for some brokers, that's the finish line. Handshake, commission, done. Then you may not hear from them again until it's time for renewal. But your business runs all year, so do the gaps and the risk. So go to supersure.com. If your company has more than 25 employees, whether you're the owner, CFO, or HR manager, it can be too complex to just go buy a policy online. Supersure is the super agency built for you, licensed in every state for your business insurance and employee benefits, all with year-round support for you and your team. At supersure.com, you can access tools like fine print facts. It'll translate your current policy into plain English so you see what's covered and what's not. Plus a business value calculator so you can estimate what your business is worth so you know what actually needs protecting. Go to supersure.com. One super agency, one powerful platform, all your policies in one place. Supersure.com. That's supersure.com. Paid for by Supersure Insurance Agency, LLC, a licensed insurance agency.
A riddle brought to you by Progressive Insurance. What do your home and auto have in common? Progressive protects them both. It was an easy riddle. Learn more at progressive.com.
Weather sponsored by D&K Appliances.
Dangerously hot weather sticking with us this evening. Overnight, we're only going to get down to around 82. Tomorrow, 101 is the high. Heavy thunderstorm possible late in the afternoon. It's going to feel like 109. Sunday, high 92. Rain and thunderstorms possible in the afternoon.
Sponsored by D&K Appliances, family owned and operated, offering industry-leading brands like Bosch, GE Profile, Speed Queen, KitchenAid, Sub-Zero, and more. They're local experts guiding you through sales, delivery, installation, and service. Visit D&K Appliances at Newtown Square in Flourtown or DKAppliances.com.
Now back to the Piazza Premium Automobile Studios.
Powering your drive with 10 brands and 20 locations.
This is Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
Welcome back to the afternoon show on 1210 WPHT in Philadelphia. My producer, Justin Otero, just told me, you better slow down, cowboy. The show's 4 hours, not 3 hours.
Yeah, sorry to be the bearer of bad news
That's all
to
right.
you.
It's going to be the Tom and Justin show in the 4th hour, and I have a plan for that. It's going to be good. We're going to play a lot of clips. And we're going to go back and forth. That starts at 6, so stick around from 6 to 7 if you want to hear Tom and Justin going back and forth on the news of the day. That's the plan. Here's another thing I want to talk about. The bend to the shore, the ride to the shore. I know all the Callan Company people are doing it. That is July 26th, and they'll be going from the Ben Franklin down to the Jersey Shore, and I will be wearing my Bend to the Shore jersey tomorrow morning from 8 to 9. I will be wearing that. I'm looking forward to it. It's very fashionable. I see one over here, too, but I will have mine on from 8 to 9 on the Tom Azelby show, which is every Saturday from 8 to 9. And
Thanks to Road Warrior for that.
Thanks. Oh, of course, thanks to Road Warrior. That's the only reason I have one is because of Road Warrior. So anyway, I will be wearing that tomorrow. Okay, I'm going to get into another issue. It's kind of my own little local pet peeve because there's the light rail, which runs from Trenton to Camden. Justin, you familiar with that light rail?
Yeah.
Okay. They built it in 2004, okay? And I was all for it because I had just bought a home on one part of the light rail in Riverton, and then I had bought a building in Burlington City. And I was like, wow, this should be pretty good for everybody along these river towns. But you know what? I wasn't looking at the numbers then, but I'm looking at the numbers today. So I want to just tell you, and the reason I'm giving you this kind of what happened in my backyard, and I'm telling everybody in the Philadelphia area, this is how people decide that have political power how to spend money. We talk about it on the federal level all the time. How much waste and, how much fraud they found. We all know the stories. We talk about it all the time here and on every other right-leaning newscast or show or podcast. But here in New Jersey, so the budget for this light rail, which I used to ride on every once in a while, I did for a while more consistently, the budget was $450 million. The actual cost came out to be $1.1 billion. And since 2004, no one's paying down principal on this stuff because these are all bonded. It's borrowed money. So all we do is pay interest on this $1.1 billion. So they were over budget, $450 million to $1.1 billion. They got no federal funds at all. This is all New Jersey taxpayer money. This is what you're on the hook for. And you're paying interest and principal every year on $1.1 billion. Now, this is how much it costs to run the train every year. To build it, $1.1 billion. It costs $27 million to run that train. They also run freight trains on it. I'm sure they're making money on that. But those rails were there for the freight trains long before the light rail came, and they had to build all the stations and all the lighting and the facility. That's where the $1.1 billion went. Justin, I'm going to ask you to take a guess. What do you think they collect in revenue from selling tickets on it?
Ooh.
$27 million cost. What do you think what they get in revenue?
Now my mind is telling me it's going to be a low number.
Of course.
But how low?
How low?
I'm going to say.
How low can you go?
I'm going to go $10 million.
$2.5 million.
Oh, wee.
Yeah. And this is how it worked. Basically, you would buy a ticket at a machine and you would go on, and randomly, maybe every 5 days, 7 days, I heard they're hardly ever there, a ticket person would come through to look for your ticket, right? And if you didn't have a ticket, you got a big fine. The problem is people would get off at stops and hand each other their tickets.
Oh.
So the bottom line is this is so New Jersey. Total, it's not working out for the taxpayer. Not a lot of, there are people that do ride on it, and there are people that still to this day don't pay a dime to ride on it. And don't take this personally. Those who ride on this light rail from Camden to Trenton, listen, it's great that it works out for you, but it's not working out for the taxpayers. Matter of fact, if I was in charge, I would end it. I would just give the rail line back to sell off the equipment, the cars and everything. They're building light rails in other places. And just end it because it has no real benefit. They made all these, the economic, what they said the economic development would be along the light rail never happened. Like retail was going to explode. Housing, they built some low-income apartments, nothing. Believe me, they're as dead as they were when they built it in 2004. Nothing has gotten better along that light rail. I would go on to say it's gotten worse for those towns because your police departments now are arresting people who come off the light rail, selling drugs, stealing from the CVS, stealing from the local stores along the thing. It's a disaster. It's a disaster. They predicted, get a load of this, they predicted $4 billion in economic impact. It went the other way. There's a negative impact. There's no positive impact. Nothing happened. Law enforcement goes crazy along that light rail. They are so busy, worried about people coming off that light rail while the kids are coming out of school. Because at one point, and I don't know if this is true, it became the story, and I'm allegedly, that it just became a transport of getting drugs from Camden to Trenton. I don't really believe that because if you got caught on there with the drugs, you probably got a big headache. You're probably just better off like everyone else does. You get in your car and drive them down. You don't get on the light rail because that's how everyone else is doing it because they have very little ridership. Very little. But for the handful of you that use it, and believe me, I used it too at some point, you're getting a nice benefit. But 99.9% of the New Jersey people that live in those communities, there's no benefit for them. And then everybody in the state is subsidizing the few that get to use it. Really, really bad idea. Anyway, let's move to the next subject. I had to get that out. You know, whenever it's in your own backyard, and I was a supporter of this. Like I was like, oh, I'm buying a building here. I'm going to build my office there, and I'm going to triple my real estate investment. And the same things with the house. If you're selling a house along all real estate in New Jersey has gone up. I'm actually surprised at the value of homes right now because they didn't go up until after COVID. But I can assure you that the train had nothing to do with it. Had nothing to do with it. So we'll move on. We'll get into more of a bigger topic. Okay, and I know we've beaten this story to death, I'm sure all week here and all over other news outlets. That is the win. We had some wins and losses in the Supreme Court. The big loss was the birthright citizenship. We'll probably get to that later. But the Supreme Court, the temporary protective status, they call TPS, it was a case, it was for the Haitians. And the only reason I'm going to go review this story again, even though it's been reviewed by everyone, is because after I outline what actually occurred, and I'll try to add a little more information to it, I'm going to take the opportunity at the end to play a clip and throw the former governor of Ohio, John Kasich, under the bus. So this is the setup, and then we're going to get into John Kasich. I'm not a fan of his. I never was. He's... I intend to throw Mr. Moralist under the bus. I do that a lot on the. I like picking out somebody that I disagree with, and you know it's funny. I do it to people, but I'll be the first one to say this. If I was having a dialogue or an interview with them, I would bring up some of this stuff. Like I would love to interview him, Justin. I'd love to talk with John Kasich and really ask him and just talk about his technique. He'd probably walk out of the studio. His technique of arguing. And his technique is, if you don't agree with him, then you're morally inferior to him. because he throws that religiosity, if I'm using the correct term, at you.
No, yeah. I always forget that John Kasich exists after, after 2016.
Well, I'm bringing him back.
Back in a big way.
I'm bringing him back in a big way. So everyone's going to remember who this guy was, because if he ever starts to decide to throw his hat in the ring, we all know we'll remind everybody of what he used to say. But let's get back to TP, the Haitian TPS. That's temporary protective status. So you have the Supreme Court is allowing Trump not to allow these Haitians to have this protection under the law. Democrats are calling this a heartless, racist, same old thing. We're used to that. This is the problem. When Democrats create a big, messy problem with this TPS, and I'm going to explain the details of it, when anybody tries to clean up a mess, some of it's going to be heartless, not intentional, but whenever you clean up something, there's going to be pain. Nothing gets fixed in life unless in pain. That's just they reset your broken leg. There's pain. So when things get broken or destroyed or messed up, you're going to have to suffer the consequences, and there is pain, and sometimes it is unfair. But that's just the way the world works, because you have to fix these things. So Donald Trump, in January 2018, closed the door in a closed-door meeting. And I want to bring you back here before we get into TPS. In January 2018, well, you know what? I should probably explain how the TPS thing worked first. Let me do that, and then I'm going to do with Donald Trump. I'm bringing up old stuff here. So there were 55,000 Haitians that were in the United States, and they had the big earthquake down there. I think the earthquake, and I should have put it in my notes, I think the earthquake was in 2010. Maybe you can look that up for me.
You know, funny enough, it was 2010. I remember because, and the only reason I remember this is because our school did a big donation drive for the Haitian thing.
Yeah,
and it was in the newspapers and all that. But it's for the Haitians and also for refugees from the Syrian civil war as well.
Right. And in 2010, we did a donation at my company. We organized that. It was a terrible thing. So you have 55,000 Haitians here. So they give them this temporary protective order comes out where they get 18 months. So that would take you nowhere past 2012. So these 55,000. But what happens is Haitians keep coming into the United States. They keep crossing in illegally, okay? And then our government keeps adding on to the TPS protection. They add another year. They add another 5 years. They just keep adding and adding it. So most of these Haitians who left even before the earthquake, this is before 2010, some left after 2010, they went to Brazil and Chile, and they started living there. They had homes and houses and apartments and jobs, and they worked there because there was a job boom down there. So they then take advantage by TPS when those jobs and those economies change long after 2010, up until like 2016, 2017, 2018, they're sneaking into the country, but they're declaring this TPS. They're not stuck. This is just like so crazy how this thing worked. And this is where I want to take you back to what Trump said in 2018 in a closed-door meeting. He sees this scam. All these Haitians that are flooding the country haven't been in Haiti for 8 years or 10 years or 20 years. And he says behind closed doors, this made national news. He called Haiti a S-hole, a crap hole. And there was only like 8 senators in there, but there was one he shouldn't have had in that office. That's Dick Durbin from Illinois, the biggest lib out there in the world. Dick Durbin runs out of there and tells everybody that Donald Trump just called Haiti a crap hole. That's the word I got to use on the radio. So now no one discusses what the problem is. And then they're denying. Then the argument is like, you should not call it a crap hole. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful country. It is beautiful people. And I do find Haitians to be some very sweet people. Like they work in the healthcare industry, but that's not the point. We're fixing a problem here. But now it's turned. So now when Trump wins at the Supreme Court in 2026 that these people got to go, now all of a sudden the left is saying Haiti's a crap hole. You can't send them back there. That's basically what they're saying. It's dangerous. It's full of poverty. It's full of disease. It's full of crime. So basically the Democrats are now confirming what Trump said in 2018. So that's the TPS thing. And basically the decision was 6-3. And what was happening is lower courts kept blocking executive orders on this. So all the Supreme Court said that you can't block Trump's ruling on this. So anyway, I hope it gave you a little more clarity. But remember, the Haitians most of them were living in Brazil and Chile long after 2010 or before, and then illegally crossing our border, saying they were Haitians, and getting protection under the TPS.
That is roughly like 350,000 Haitians that will have their status more than likely terminated by DHS thanks to this ruling.
Yes.
That were here.
Yeah.
That have been here just illegally.
Yeah, and I'm sure they can fight it or some way, but listen, it is unfortunate, but I'm sure not all 330 are the most special, nicest people in the world. And the problem is they probably shouldn't have left Chile and Brazil. They probably should have stayed. And when you seek asylum, the real law is the first country you enter is where you stay, and then you apply for asylum. Then that got all screwed up where you run across the border and say, I want asylum. But you went through 4 countries to get here. So listen, he's cleaning up a mess. And let me tell you, that's a win. What Trump got, that is a win there. So we should definitely take that as a win. We'll move on to another subject after the break. You can listen to us on Odyssey, iHeart, and you can call in if you want to talk to me, 855-839-1210. This is Tom Azelby on the Afternoon Show.
From the FIFA World Cup to competitive business environments, grand ambitions lead to game-changing achievements. At Bank of America, we're there to support businesses at every step, providing insights and expertise to help you gain an edge.
He shoots, he scores!
What would you like the power to do? Explore winning business solutions at BofA.com/gamechangers. Bank of America, official bank of the FIFA World Cup 2026.
If Ernest Hemingway was alive today, would he say this to you?
Shakespeare, Mark Twain, Edgar Allan Poe, all great writers. And after reading your book, I simply must add you to the list.
Wait, you don't have a book yet. So make a free call to Page Publishing. Turn your book idea into publishing gold.
800-215-6818. 800-215-6818. That's 800-215-6818.
If you're talking, they will hear you every single time.
Oh, we're getting killed.
Yeah, well, Kyle's not here.
How come?
Kicked off the team. Didn't Tim tell you? Kyle and some other kids got caught drinking beer in the park a couple of nights ago.
Really?
Yeah. 0 tolerance. He's out for the season.
Come on, it's a first offense, right?
That we know of. But why should that matter? He knew not to drink. I've made it clear to Matt that's what we expect from him. What have you said to Tim?
Nothing really. You know, a lot of kids try it at this age, so...
Yeah, well, a lot of kids don't try it too. I'm not saying that Matt's gonna be this perfect kid, but if I don't tell him what we expect and why he shouldn't drink, how's he gonna know?
You think kids that age really listen?
They never admit it, Bill, but they hear more than you think.
Talk. They hear you. For more information about talking with kids about underage drinking, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Let me tell you something about insurance. When you sign your insurance policy, for some brokers, that's the finish line. Handshake, commission, done. Then you may not hear from them again until it's time for renewal. But your business runs all year, so do the gaps and the risk. So go to supersure.com. If your company has more than 25 employees, whether you're the owner, CFO, or HR manager, it can be too complex to just go buy a policy online. Supersure is the super agency built for you, licensed in every state for your business insurance and employee benefits, all with year-round support for you and your team. At Supersure.com, you can access tools like fine print facts. It'll translate your current policy into plain English so you see what's covered and what's not. Plus a business value calculator so you can estimate what your business is worth so you know what actually needs protecting. Go to Supersure.com. One super agency, one powerful platform, all your policies in one place. Supersure.com. That's Supersure.com. Paid for by Supersure Insurance Agency, LLC, a licensed insurance agency.
NASCAR champion Bobby Labonte here with my brother Terry and my nephew Justin. You know, every sport has its essential safety gear.
For racing, we wear helmets, fire retardant suits, and Nomex gloves.
For fishing, waterfowl hunting, and boating, we wear life jackets.
After an intense race, there's nothing more relaxing than bass fishing.
Or a little duck hunting on the lake.
But we're the first ones to tell you, on the track or on the water, accidents happen fast.
In a crash, there's no time to put on a helmet. And when a boater capsizes or is thrown from the boat, there's rarely time to reach a stowed life jacket.
But today's life jackets are lightweight and comfortable. Fishing or hunting, they don't get in your way.
That's why you won't catch a Labonte on the water without a life jacket.
Don't let us catch you either. Remember, you're in command. Boat safely.
This message brought to you by the United States Coast Guard. For more information on boating safety, visit www.uscgboating.org.
You can now tune in to Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the iHeart Radio app.
Welcome back to the afternoon show with Tom Azelby here in Philadelphia, 1210 WPHT. I will be here from 3 to 6 and 6 to 7 because Rich is on vacation this week. But if you want to catch him, he's on the July 4th edition of America's Newsroom, Fox News tomorrow. They're going to be doing it from Liberty State Park, so that's
Rich took the week off to I think he's fully recovering from that heart surgery, and the Rich Zioli podcast will be back as scheduled starting Monday.
Okay, and I'll be here, so I'll be his lead-in for three nights. So I like that.
When are you? I know this is we're doing producing work on air, but when are you here next week?
And don't hold me to it, but I think I'm here on Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, and I'm looking forward to it. So catch Rich tomorrow, July 4th, America's Newsroom, and I want to get back to my little discussion. There's some great rhyming in the stream there. What was it? All the Haitian donations went to the Clinton Foundation. That was good. Now they're rolling in more, I see. That's pretty cool. But anyway, I looked this up too. So the Democrats are losing their mind over this TPS, 330,000 Haitians to go back. And the more Haitians that become citizens is a good thing for Democrats because they vote 70 to 80% of Haitians in America vote for Democrats. So, you know what? So that's what a lot of this illegal immigration is about. Is if they're here long enough, and you get them, if they get voting rights, they tend to go with Democrats. Not across all categories. I mean, the Hispanics are very diverse. The Latino population is a very diverse way of politically. But certain groups of people do tend to vote a certain way, and Haitians tend to vote Democratic. So that's probably why Democrats are losing their mind. They could care less about any Haitian who is picked up and sent out of the country. It's just emotional gibberish. Everything has a purpose and a political return on investment for them, and they'll make very bad decisions just to get that power. Like, they love it so much.
I mean, when you're constantly shifting further and further and farther left with these crazy politicians that the Democrats seem hell bent on nominating, at least in the last year and a half since Mamdani. Normal Americans with functioning brains who happen to be Democrat are more often than not leaving the Democratic Party. So you got to replace that voting base with a new voting base.
Yep. No, absolutely. And you know what? You just brought up a good subject, and we're going to get into the Democratic Socialists of America. And listen, Rich Zeoli has nailed this. I've heard him on Fox News. This is a plus for us to get votes, and we're going to get into that in a little bit, but I don't want to lose this opportunity to throw John Kasich under the bus. So John Kasich, just to give you a Republican governor, he was a congressman, and his dad was a mailman. If you don't remember that, he talked about that every day. So that being said, he's a contributor. He's now got a radio show on Sirius. I'm not promoting him, but he works for MSNBC and MS Now, and you can only be a conservative Republican to work at that organization unless you can't stand Trump. And if you can't stand Trump, you can get a job there. All the Bush people showed up there for years. Anyway, let's play his clip.
Said that Haitians are going to have to be removed from Springfield, Ohio. I guess I understand that, but there is an opportunity for the Congress to extend temporary protection status because things in Haiti are just deteriorating, and sending people back there with their families, to me, is just crazy. I wish the Congress would extend this for the Haitians, but if not, they'll say that that's the law. And to quote somebody, a figure from a Charles Dickens novel, if that's the law, then the law is an ass.
Okay, so basically, we'll break down Kasich here. Basically, he's saying he agrees with the legal decision of the Supreme Court, but now he agrees with the decision, but now he wants Congress to write a law to protect all 330,000, right? So and then he starts talking about a Dickens novel and a heartless person. So now he's attacking Trump as being like a heartless, mean, vicious person. Once again, this has nothing to do with being heartless. This has something to do with following the law, making a law that is protecting the country. These people did not leave from an earthquake to come to the United States. Maybe some did, and it was to protect 55,000 who were here. The other 355,000 were working in Chile and Brazil or sneaking in illegally. So, but there he goes with that. He wants to sound, with the legal, he's fair-minded, and then he throws in the moral. That's this guy. That's how he operates. It's always, I'm a better human being. I don't like politics like that. I don't even like when the right does it to people that they disagree with, right? When they do it to people on the left. I would say just keep to what the mission is. And forget, it's like the whole country is like run like an HR department. And they're the worst. They've ruined corporate America, every HR department.
Hopefully Odyssey's isn't listening right now.
Well, not Odyssey's HR. They have a fine HR department.
They're the best. Some people are saying they're the best around.
They're the best around. So obviously I'm targeting who I'm speaking about. But someone did say to me, no HR, no director or executive from the HR department ever runs a company. Like they never get promoted. They come out of sales. They come out of engineering. They might even come out of the financial department, but rarely do they come out of HR. It's just interesting. It's funny. You opened up a door for me. I had a company that only had 25 people in it. And, this was our HR department. My controller was my HR department, right? And she had an accounting team. So, and then I had my managers or whatever. And this was our thing. Don't talk about politics. Don't talk about sex. And don't talk about religion at work. There are three things we tell our managers. You hear those discussions, stop them at the door. And know what? Never had an issue for 20 years. Not one issue. Very simple. It's only 25 people. Obviously, when you have hundreds and thousands, then it gets a lot more complicated. But HR took way too big a role. And you know what? Trump's changed the HR culture. What they've been selling for years and indoctrinating everybody with, Trump has pulled the carpet from underneath them. Anyway, another thing that's interesting about Kasich, he was a governor from 2011, 2019, and I'm sure he followed the Republican path to a certain extent. But he graduated college in 1975. He was an aide, to a politician. Then he became a state senator. And this is interesting. So no private sector experience whatsoever, okay? None. And I'm sure there's been some good politicians, not Joe Biden. He won the Senate at 29, and he was awful. But I do think that having some type of private sector experience up until you're 40 or 45 is probably a good idea before you get into government, because you might make a little bit of money and then you won't get involved in, trading stocks on the inside or whatever they do. They all seem to be getting wealthy there. But he had one job from 2001 to 2008 before he ran for governor. He worked for Lehman Brothers. And it's so interesting how many of these politicos, and I just even know from people who are friends and family that work in big financial institutions, how many of these Republicans and Democrats, for that matter, end up in these big Wall Street banking jobs or law firms, and they sit there and they get paid a nice salary until they make their next move into politics. But I don't think the average voter knows how much that goes on. But here was Kasich from 2001 to 2008 with Lehman Brothers. Lehman Brothers would melt down in 2008 because of bad mortgage investments, obviously. But then I was wondering, did they make Kasich go to New York City to work? Pack up? No, he worked in a two-man shop in Columbus, Ohio. So you just talk. It's kind of like a union kind of connected mafia job where, you just punch the clock and you don't show up or something. That's what a lot of these government jobs are when they show up at JP Morgan or any of the big financial institutions, Goldman Sachs. People have no idea how the game is played. And we could do a whole show about that, and we could name names. But that's Kasich. I'm not a big fan of his. I don't know if one thing I wish he did, he never mentioned the Chile or Brazil thing. He never mentioned that 330,000 of the Haitian migrants in this country who came in illegally, he doesn't mention they weren't living in Haiti during the earthquake. He knows it, but he doesn't want to tell anybody when he's speaking to do that clip for social media. He doesn't want you to know that because that makes his statement very complicated. With that, we're going to go to break. We'll be back with our interview with Ron Mattis, and we're going to talk about the voucher program in Florida and how it might work in New Jersey and Pennsylvania.
This year, America celebrates 250 years, 2.5 centuries of courage, sacrifice, and family stories passed down from one generation to the next. Hi, I'm Nick Mako.
And I'm Adam Baselogger, founders of Legacy Box. Your family's piece of the American story is sitting in an attic or closet right now, trapped on aging VHS tapes, camcorder tapes, film reels, and fading photos.
Those boxes hold moments you can never recreate. Your wedding day, your children's voices when they were little, grandparents coming back to life on screen.
Over 2 million families have trusted Legacy Box. And we've just partnered with the USO to digitize fragile handwritten letters from World War II, helping preserve American history for future generations.
As America turns 250, remember that your family is a part of the American story. Preserving those voices, faces, and moments is a part of your responsibility to the next generation. Don't let them disappear on your watch.
Visit legacybox.com/radio for our amazing America 250 sale. That's legacybox.com/radio to save.
It feels like every day there's something in the headlines that could make you wonder to yourself, is now even a good time to retire?
So many people are waiting, and those folks are going to be waiting a really long time, I hate to say, because there's no perfect time. The market is always unpredictable and volatile.
Fortunately, Jim Cipriotti has been helping people get to, through, and beyond retirement for over 28 years, and each week he wants to help give you that freedom to retire. Listen to Freedom to Retire with Jim Cipriotti Saturdays and Sundays at 6 a.m., 9 a.m., and 5 p.m. on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
This is Jordan Lundy. And this is Len Lundy. Lundy Law has won billions for our clients.
But more importantly, we've won the trust and confidence of thousands of people injured in motor vehicle crashes, slip and fall accidents, and work-related injuries.
My son and I hope we never meet you because of an accident. But if we do,
we're here for you.
Remember our name, Lundy Law, your injury lawyers. Call 1-800-LUNDY-LAW or visit lundylaw.com for a free consultation.
Summer means vacations, road trips, and spending more time on the road with family and friends. Before your next adventure, make sure your vehicle is ready with United Tire's 4th of July sale. Through July 3rd, receive an instant $104 savings on any set of 4 tires, plus free road hazard coverage on trusted brands like Michelin, Goodyear, Continental, and more. It's one of the best tire deals of the summer and a great way to help keep your family safe on the road. Visit your local United Tire today. Don't drive alone, drive United.
Maybe it's time to take a fresh look at everything we thought we knew about landing a great job. For instance, what if phenomenal careers start at the middle school science fair instead of at the job fair? If being the captain of the robotics team means just as much on a college application as being captain of the football team. And if knowing the quadratic formula is every bit as important as knowing the right people. Well, the fact is, the jobs of the future will be heavily geared towards science, technology, engineering, and math. In other words, the future is STEM. More opportunities, better pay. And the road to these great jobs starts as early as middle school. So if you're a student, talk to your school counselor about STEM. If you're a parent, talk to your kids. Because the job you'll get in the future may very well depend on what you do today. A public service message from America's Navy.
At St. Jude, a family never sees a bill at all, not one bill. Your focus is supporting this child. It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders.
A plane has crashed into one of the towers of the World Trade Center.
The events of September 11th changed our nation forever. As we approach the 25th anniversary, Talk Radio 1210 WPHT is looking to hear directly from those who experienced that day firsthand. Were you a first responder who answered the call on September 11th? Were you in New York City, Washington, or near Shanksville? Share your story as part of our special 25th anniversary broadcast, 9/11 Through the Eyes of, a collection of personal memories, reflections, and experiences from those whose lives were forever changed. If you have a first-hand account and would like to be considered for an interview, visit 1210WPHT.com. Let's remember, honor, and preserve them for future generations. Go to 1210WPHT.com.
ABC News, I'm Chuck Severson. Police in Dearborn, Michigan are investigating a shooting at a shopping mall. This person works at a store at Fairlane Town Center.
As soon as we start hearing the gunshots, we just start everybody to get down, trying to get people to the fitting rooms or just out the store, just trying to clear the way, trying to close that mall entrance door.
No word from police yet about what the Dearborn Mall shooting was about. Closed because it's been too hot today at about 100 degrees, the Great American State Fair in Washington's National Mall.
Attention fairgoers, the event has been postponed.
The PA announcement, but they plan to reopen when temps go down a little in an hour. ABC's Karen Waugh at the fairgrounds.
Organizers have postponed tomorrow's main event, pushing it from 1 o'clock to 5 o'clock, and that is billed to be the largest fireworks show in history. Looking at other parts of the country, we know Philadelphia, they had to cancel their parade today, also due to heat concerns. In New York City, they tied for the hottest morning on record, but they're going ahead with their Times Square ball drop. It's dropping 8 times to mark the 8 American time zones where it's going to be midnight.
Federal appeals court clears the way for the Trump administration to get the immediate replacement of the slavery exhibit in Philadelphia. The city is appealing. Pope Leo has been awarded the National Constitution Center's Liberty Medal, accepting the award virtually from the Vatican today and mentioning America's 250th birthday.
The path to building a society that would embody those high ideals of liberty and justice for all was not always easy, and in many respects is still a work in progress. Indeed, the effort to realize this vision is one that must be taken up anew in each generation and in the face of ever new challenges.
Pope Leo accepting the National Constitution Center's Liberty Medal. You're listening to ABC News.
Hot summer days and high energy bills are on the way. Upgrade your home's old leaky windows this month with Window Nation at 50% off all window styles. Yes, 50% off new, beautiful, energy-efficient windows, plus 0 down, 0 interest, and no payments for 2 years. Call now, 866-200-8670 or windownation.com. In select markets, trust our family of brands, New South Window and ArmorView. That's 866-200-8670 or windownation.com to book a consultation.
Ever wonder why you have insurance for your car or home, but not your digital life? Meet WebRoot Total Protection, your digital bodyguard that includes antivirus, identity protection, VPN, cloud backup, and more. With plans for individuals and families, WebRoot takes the guessing game out of cybersecurity, so you can get back to living your best life online. Go to webroot.com/protect and get 60% off today. That's webroot.com/protect to get 60% off today. Live a better digital life with WebRoot, because peace of mind shouldn't be optional.
A man has been charged in the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool mess. Attorneys for David Hearn say that he's innocent and a scapegoat for the administration's failures. Massive security plans in New York, Washington, and Philadelphia for America's 250th. ABC News contributor, retired Secret Service agent Don Mahalik, recalling the threat situation with possible lone wolves and cyber attacks, unprecedented. Plus,
the heat is a significant issue that all of these agencies have to keep in mind and also have to be prepared to handle.
The conservative politician Keiko Fujimori is declared winner of the presidential runoff in Peru, dominated by people's concerns over surging crime. It was a close election with fewer than 100,000 votes separating the two contenders. Crews from around the world are digging to find survivors of last week's 2 huge earthquakes in Venezuela. International Red Cross Emergency Response Director Rafael Velasquez Garcia.
We are looking right now, sadly, at the figures where more than 2,000 people have died, and there's still more than 38 to 40,000 people missing.
He says many people refuse to leave a temporary shelter because they're afraid of looting and they're afraid of leaving their belongings behind. A New York City permit for the Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce wedding today, obtained by the Associated Press, shows that it is set for Madison Square Garden at 5 p.m. Eastern Time and could last until 4 a.m. tomorrow. Chuck Severson, ABC News.
Hot summer days and high energy bills are on the way. Upgrade your home's old leaky windows this month with Window Nation at 50% off all window styles. Yes, 50% off new, beautiful, energy-efficient windows, plus 0 down, 0 interest, and no payments for 2 years. Call now, 866-200-8670 or windownation.com. In select markets, trust our family of brands, New South Window and ArmorView. That's 866-200-8670 or windownation.com to book a consultation.
WPHT HD WOGL HD3 Philadelphia from the Piazza Premium Automobile Studios.
Powering your drive with 10 brands and 20 locations.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. Free speech lives here. Lives here. The WPHT Afternoon Show.
And Justin, that is. Join Tom on Talk Radio, 1210 WPHT.
Welcome back to 1210 WPHT. This is Tom Azelby in on the afternoon show. And I love the way Newman Price wrote that song, created that epic song, and the cheering for Matt and Justin. I love it. It's good stuff. I don't know why, as the host, I mean, there should have been some part where it gets louder for me, but anyway, you know what? I'm going to talk about, and don't let your eyes roll in the back of your head when I talk about education, because really, if you want to see blue cities and blue states crumble, and maybe you do, so I get the feeling. But man, if they don't make a change to their educational systems, they're in for a really a continuous trend of going down. Education is key. And the people that are the most vulnerable to bad education are the people that are vulnerable already. That means that their kids can't read, write, and do math proficiently. In the city of Philadelphia, problems by not getting these kids to read, write, and do basic math. Problems by not getting these kids to read, write, and do basic math. And even back in the Depression, when there was no money, there were orphans everywhere. My dad grew up in Hell's Kitchen. Everyone he grew up with knew how to read, write, and do math. Like, that's the way it was. I'm not saying like some kids were working on farms and they weren't. But we, for a modern society, we have completely failed in many of our school systems. And don't tell me how great New Jersey school systems are. They have a lot of rich towns, and these kids drive the scores up so high because I can go 10 miles in any direction from my home in New Jersey and name 8 or 9 poor performing high schools. So basically, they're like, well, look at the data. Yeah, the data is getting pulled. These grades are getting pulled up dramatically by kids who are scoring in the 99 percentile. So the New Jersey data, I've done a whole show on that. I'm not going to get into that again. But the bigger point I'm going to make, and I'm going to do it with my next guest, Ron Mattis, and he's with the Step Up program. He's the director of research and special projects. And let me just give you a little bit of background on Ron. He was a educational reporter. He's a Florida guy, Florida State Seminole. He was an educational reporter, nominated for a Pulitzer Prize. This Step Up program in Florida, I was shocked. I moved to Florida, okay? And I'm told, well, if you're sending your daughter to the Catholic high school in West Palm Beach or whatever, you got to apply for the Step Up program. And I'm like, what's the Step Up program? They call it a scholarship program, but really it's a voucher, okay? I'm like, they're not going to give me any voucher, usually there's some type of income or asset, that you can't be over or whatever. And like, I'm talking to people who are very successful. They're like, no, everyone gets it. Just apply for it. And and I'm going to let Ron explain it, but this program not only helps people send their kids to elite private schools or to religious schools or Catholic schools, and it doesn't destroy the public schools. This program appears to me, and Ron will explain it to us, seems to help every category wherever you go. And it's done in Florida because they're doing a lot of things right down there. And I want to welcome Ron Mattis to the show. Ron, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. I'm so grateful that you're having me on. Thank you.
Well, I'm having you on because I find that Florida is doing, like, if some of the people up here in the Northeast could see some of the great things that Florida is doing that's helping their kids and their educational program, maybe people will say, you know what, maybe we can look at Florida as an example with the Step Up program to do vouchers up here in the Northeast. It's a long shot because there's big forces trying to stop it. But Ron, tell us about the Step Up program.
Sure. So Step Up for Students is the nonprofit that administers the school choice and the education choice scholarship programs in Florida. Yes, you can call them vouchers. Technically now they are all education savings accounts, not vouchers. So they can be used for more than just private school tuition. I have been at Step Up since 2012. And Tom, when I got to Step Up, there were about 50,000 students using these scholarships. Fast forward to today, and there's 540,000 kids using those scholarships. And like you alluded to, it's like every demographic you can think of uses these programs, embraces these programs, supports these programs, and they have transformed public education in Florida in a way that is unlike anything happening in any state in this country. And as far as I can tell, has ever happened to any state ever. It has been that transformative.
Ron, let me ask you a question, because what they say up here, it's the same old logic, and it's being said by powerful teachers unions and the politicians who get the votes from them, but they say it destroys the public schools. My understanding in Florida is it not only saves the taxpayers some money in funding, but the test scores in Florida in the public schools are actually going up because resources are being allocated better. Is that true?
That's exactly right. It's funny to me that it's funny, not in a funny, totally funny way, but that, the teachers unions and other folks, this small minority of people who oppose school choice have been saying the same things for decades now.
Yeah.
They've been predicting the apocalypse, that the sky's going to fall, that this parade of horribles is going to come down the street and wreck public schools everywhere. And the exact opposite has happened.
Yeah.
It hasn't been an apocalypse. It's been a renaissance. And to your point, yes, public schools in Florida are way better than they used to be. And a huge part of that is the competition engendered by choice. If you go back to the late 1990s, just to give you, one stat.
Yeah.
If you go back to the late 1990s, the graduation rates in Florida were barely 50%. They were 52%, believe it or not. That's how bad we were. For black students, it was 42%.
Right.
You fast forward to today, and graduation rates are north of 90%. For black students, I think the last year it was 89%. I mean, and I could give you all kinds of other stats if you wanted, but it's just been a sea change in public education overall, including our public schools. They are way better than they used to be. They used to be, bottom of the barrel. Now they're like, I don't know, dramatically different and better.
Yeah, and this is what people have to realize. It's kind of like a loser mentality up here, but the loser mentality is not really, that's not the right way to describe it, because there's power political forces where it's in the public school system up in the Northeast. It's not about educating students. It's about payrolls and union dues, and it's so highly political. And one thing I want to compare, and I'll get off that soapbox because I can rip into them for the next hour. But one thing, the Hispanic population in Florida in the educational system, these are kids that are learning, their first language is Spanish, and they're learning English. And even with this huge demographic of Hispanic students who don't have English as a first language, they seem to be doing like dealing with that as your challenge. Florida is addressing it and being successful.
Absolutely, and I think you alluded to this in your intro as well. It is and I hate these terms, but just for the sake of the conversation, it is the most vulnerable, quote unquote, disadvantaged students who have benefited the most from choice coming into the system and diversifying things and adding that competitive pressure. It's the Hispanic students, black students, low-income students, students with disabilities. Those are the students who have driven Florida's gains.
Yep.
I mean, the system always worked for those who could afford to move out to the suburbs to get to school that, was higher quality, that had what they wanted for their kids, or could afford a private school. The system was geared towards those families. They benefited from it. It was all the other families who couldn't move or couldn't afford a private school who were left out in the cold.
Yep.
And now with choice, they can access schools, and even better, we see all kinds of new schools being created all over the place, and now all kinds of providers beyond schools, because, we have education choice, not just school choice in Florida. And it is those most vulnerable, those most disadvantaged families who are benefiting from all that diversity, all that dynamism, all that responsiveness that choice has brought into the system.
Yeah, I want to follow up on that, and I'm just based on the high school that my daughter goes to. If you want to see a rainbow of diversity in private schools, then you give vouchers, and you see it every day, and that's really the way it should be. Let me ask you a thing from even from an infrastructure standpoint. Florida has gotten so many people flooding to Florida because it's the free state of Florida. There's no income tax, and there's beautiful benefits about Florida. But the cost for building all those, all the infrastructure that that Florida would have had to spend, there has to be a benefit to the taxpayer by kind of spreading this out into existing infrastructure in these private schools.
That's totally right. I don't know that anybody has done an analysis of that, at least not recently, to calculate the total cost savings to taxpayers from the fact that we have choice, and it's not just the public schools who have to build that infrastructure and educate those students. But, the amount of the scholarship is so much less than per pupil spending in public schools in Florida. I mean, all in per pupil in Florida is probably, I don't know, $12,000 a year, something like that, which is half as much as you guys got up there in Pennsylvania and New Jersey, probably a third as much as New York.
Yep.
And the amount of the scholarship, for the general population students on average is about $8,000. For students with special needs, it's about $10,000. So you add up all that together and extrapolate it out, and you get hundreds of millions of dollars, if not billions of dollars in savings to taxpayers, and you get better outcomes. So you get better outcomes at less cost with more parent satisfaction and a heck of a lot more innovation with a system that is, and I'm probably boring your listeners with the same words, but diverse and dynamic. I mean, that's what I think of all the time, Tom, when I think about Florida. And I've been watching this for a long time.
No, I know.
It's never been this diverse and dynamic. It is amazing to behold and watch it happen in front of our eyes. It really is amazing.
And what I find interesting, listen, this is the voucher movement is game changer for our education of our kids anywhere in the country. Florida, New Jersey, it's a game changer. Florida has proven that. And what I find interesting, and you'll know better than me because you've been in the education area for a long time, this movement, voucher movement, was actually pioneered by political progressives at one point. That's where it started. That's my understanding. I don't know if I'm correct on that.
I think you're half correct.
Okay.
So, one, total kudos to you for even being aware of that, because one of the many myths I just really hate about school choice is that it's somehow this right-wing plot.
Yeah.
It most certainly is not. I mean, the roots of school choice are so diverse. On the one hand, you do have Milton Friedman, the award-winning, Nobel Prize-winning economist who came up with the idea of vouchers in 1955. He was all about markets and competition. He thought, schools would be better if the market handled schools rather than the government. So you do have that pillar on the right for school choice, with the rationale being markets and competition. But to your point, there have been this long list of influential thought leaders, incredible diversity. Some of the strongest supporters of school choice are these core Democratic constituencies. It's black families, Hispanic families. They're the ones who are like, yes, please give us options. And then when you get on the ground in a place like Florida, where, thank goodness, and sometimes it just seems like a dream to me, you actually have choice in reality. It's not just this abstraction that people can demonize. You see that people from all walks of life, all points on the political spectrum say, this is great.
Yeah.
It's only this tiny minority of people who oppose choice, and somehow, and maybe it's our fault, we've allowed them to define the narrative. And that is really sad, because the narrative is not what they keep saying.
No, and I'm going to throw someone else under the bus up here from the north, from the Northeast. A lot of the anti-vouchers are some of my suburbanite, predominantly white neighbors who are so afraid of the beyond anything with high SAT scores, great teachers, because they have a high property tax that pays for their great school. They are also the people that are keeping some of these less fortunate people from an economic stance. Less fortunate, I mean by income, not they might have beautiful, happy lives, but these are some of the the liberal-minded people holding back these other ones because they're afraid that it could affect their elite public school in their little towns. And believe me, they have a bad attitude towards vouchers, and it's complete hypocrisy.
I would agree, and I would say, they have just succumbed to these myths because they don't have the evidence in front of them. And when everything remains abstract, and I'm so glad you're even putting a spotlight on this subject, because you're making it concrete for people. I mean, it's so easy to demonize things when they're abstract. You can create all these phantom menaces, and this tiny minority of people who oppose choice have done a great job of doing that. But if you go to a state like Florida, and I'm so glad, you're allowing me to ramble on about this great state that I love, you see that it's just not what people said it was, and it's not doing what people said it was going to do.
Yeah.
I mean, again, the apocalypse never happened here. The sky did not fall. The clouds parted and the sun peeked through. And we're like, oh, my gosh, this is amazing. Everybody can have what they want.
Yep.
You're getting better outcomes at low cost. And I hope those neighbors that you're talking about can, learn a little bit about Florida. We'd let them around if they want to come down to Florida. I mean, I'd love to take them to some of these schools where liberals, progressives, people of the left, whatever you want to call them, are enjoying their schools of choice because they, too, can have exactly what they want. Everybody's realizing when the choice is in the system and parents actually have power to drive quality, nothing but good things result from that.
Ron, I'm going to finish up with this one last question. And you know what? We don't want too many to come down because they might change the voting registration down there. But anyway, and we want to keep it exactly the way it is. So, but when we look at it, listen, we live in a red state, blue state country. That's just the way it is. I'm not one of these people who are going to unify and kumbaya. It's a red state, blue state country. Are other red states looking at Florida and adopting this path? Is it going on in other red states?
Absolutely. That's where this is happening. I mean, there is a sea change going on where, half the country, if not more than half the country, is now moving away from this education system that we've had in place for 100, 150 years. And I'm not here to trash that system or anything like that. I mean, it served its purpose. It's a complicated story, but we've had this, very top-down, uniform system for 100 to 150 years. All these states are moving away from it. And I would say Florida has been absolutely in the forefront of that for 25 to 30 years. But there are other states doing great things, too. Arizona, first and foremost. I mean, Arizona and Florida have always been neck and neck in kind of an interesting competition to see who could move the ball down the field farthest. I mean, you can see things, I think, in Florida a little better just because we're 3 times as big as Arizona. But Arizona is doing all kinds of amazing things. Ohio, Indiana are other big states that are in the lead. Now you have New Hampshire, West Virginia, Arkansas with universal programs really pushing the envelope. And then Texas coming on with the biggest first-year voucher program in the history of this country, 100,000 kids right off the bat. So, you do have more and more states. And, unfortunately, it's only red states at this point because of these myths about choice being this right-wing thing and because of, that pressure within the Democratic Party that the unions exert on the party leaders and the lawmakers. I mean, the rank and file are with everybody else. The rank and file Democrats, and probably even many of those people in that progressive neighborhood you described, like choice. They appreciate it. The concept resonates with them. It's just the tail wagging the dog within the Democratic Party that's caused all these problems and prevented this from becoming a more widespread thing quicker.
Well, I'll say this, with the fact that we live in a red state, blue state country, and you're seeing it already, when red states, as this accelerates and we have better educated kids in certain states, the businesses will follow. And a lot of these blue states that are big fancy states, New Jersey, New York, I look at their future, they could be the future Rust Belt. I know that's a little dramatic, but believe me, I think if they don't change their educational system soon, red states are going to eat their lunch in business. And I think that's what's coming for them. Ron, you gave a great presentation of the Step Up program, the voucher program in Florida. I love it. It does great things. I never knew that when I was going to bring my daughter down there to school, but it's worked out great. And I want to thank your organization. You guys are doing a heck of a job. It's so simple to do online, too. People think you have to fill out 1 million documents. It's a great thing. So, Ron, it was great to have you. You guys run a great, efficient program.
Tom, thank you so much for saying that. Thank you so much for having me on. And thank you for caring about this topic and, allowing us to share with your listeners a little bit about Florida. I do think it's I mean, I'm biased, but what's happening here is amazing. So thanks for allowing us to share our story a little bit.
You got it. We'll be right back after this break with Tom Azelby on the afternoon show.
Helping your inner circle prepare for emergencies can start in many ways. Put together an emergency kit with WIPE. Create a family communication plan with your tita. Remind Bai to keep a backup battery charged. It all starts with a simple step, telling those you care about to be ready for the worst. So start a conversation and plan for emergencies together. Get more tips at ready.gov/start. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Let's take a moment to breathe. Deep inhale. Extend your spine. Remain focused on what you're doing. If safe to do so, exhale slowly, leaning to one side. Inhale back to center. If safe to do so, exhale slowly to the opposite side. Find mental health resources at loveyourmindtoday.org. This message is brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
Does your home never seem to have enough hot water? With the Bradford White Infinity Tankless Water Heater, you'll never run out. The Infinity Tankless heats as much water as you need, whenever you need it. Plus, they're super efficient to save you energy and money. And like all Bradford White water heaters, they're built to be the best for years of reliable performance. So ask your plumbing professional about going tankless with a Bradford White Infinity Series Tankless Water Heater. Visit BradfordWhite.com today to learn more.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're a city
on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9834. That's 800-575-9834. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Tech.
Demand is rapidly growing for temperature-controlled freight facilities, and that's prompting UPS to invest $48 million in the expansion of its global network of cold chain facilities to handle that demand. UPS says the investment will support the shipment of biologics and advanced therapies requiring controlled environments, with that market expected to grow to more than $39 billion by 2033. I'm Jason Brooks.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Retirement can be scary, but only if you're not prepared. That's why AARP created thisispretirement.org. Because unless you've already retired, you're in pretirement, and you still have time to plan. Learn about retirement savings options, potential tax breaks, and how you can build savings over time. Visit thisispretirement.org for free resources to help you customize your action plan and feel the retirement fear disappear. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Weather sponsored by D&K Appliances.
Dangerously hot weather sticking with us this evening. Overnight, we're only going to get down to around 82. Tomorrow, 101 is the high. Heavy thunderstorm possible late in the afternoon. It's going to feel like 109. Sunday, high 92. Rain and thunderstorms possible in the afternoon.
Sponsored by D&K Appliances. Family owned and operated. Offering industry-leading brands like Bosch, GE Profile, Speed Queen, KitchenAid, Sub-Zero, and more. They're local experts guiding you through sales, delivery, installation, and service. Visit D&K Appliances at Newtown Square in Flourtown or DKappliances.com.
Broadcasting live from the Piazza Auto Group studios. Experience the power of one with 8 brands and 25 locations. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
Welcome back to the afternoon show in Philadelphia on 1210 WPHT. This is Tom Azelby. I will be back tomorrow between 8 and 9 to do my regular show, but it's going to be 4th of July focused. Big holiday, our 250th. It's nothing like 1976. I was a kid back then. I mean, that thing was, people were talking about the 200th bicentennial. They were talking that for like 2 years before, and it was like the biggest thing going on in America at the time. They had the boat sailing to New York Harbor. It was such a big deal, like especially as a kid. It seemed like the whole country was excited back then, which they were, but we live in different times. And I'm not trying to say we should be like it. It's just a different world. We just have, there's a lot of other things to see and do, and we have so many great things. That's why when we complain a lot about the country or the world or whatever, let me tell you, you'd get so excited about the bicentennial in 1976 because there was not much going on. Like it was just a different world. And let me tell you, the 70s was a tough economy too. Until Ronald Reagan came in 1980, man, it was. I look back on it now, but there were a lot of people that were unemployed. Gas prices were high. It was just the 70s were pretty tough, but they were fun. It was like a kaleidoscope. Like it really was cool. Like in my town on the basketball court in the 70s, you would have all these hot rods lined up. Then you had all the jocks playing basketball. Then weed would float over the crowd like a giant cloud of weed, which is going on now today.
That's still happening.
Yeah, well, that's happening now, but it didn't happen for a long time. But back then, and then there would be a fight, and like a giant circle would form, and there would be a fist fight. There'd be no guns or anything. You might get the crap beat out of you, but it was just an interesting time. I think after the 60s, which they had this like emotional connection to changing the world, the 70s was like, oh my God, it was just like a hangover and everyone went nuts. That's how I look at it, and I do look back at the 70s as pretty cool. But anyway, we're going to get into politics now. The DSA, the Democratic Socialists of America, I think we have a clip, and that's with Joe Manchin, and he was the senator from West Virginia for a very long time. And Kilmeade tells him something during the interview, and I could tell Joe Manchin is like he can't answer it first because he doesn't want to believe it. So let's play that clip and then we'll get into the DSA.
Let me just tell you that 47% of the people identify themselves as independents. They have to take, and all of you on your shows talk about independence because independence is where you win or lose elections.
But 62% of Democrats say they prefer socialism over capitalism.
If they do, then by God, there's not a Democratic Party left. That's crazy. That is crazy.
It's true.
That is absolutely insane.
It's not a Fox poll.
If you want to ask,
I think we got. You know what I liked about that pause by Joe Manchin was like, when someone's getting hit with something that they haven't heard before, like it was a very slight, like kind of like 62% of Democrats want socialism over capitalism. You could tell like he was choking for a second.
He's like, huh? It's that like he probably has like a preconceived notion. It's probably he probably only thought it was only like 25, less than 25%. You hear 62, it's one of those numbers like, oh my God.
And the thing is, his environment now is West Virginia, because that's where he's from, which is a Republican state. So when he hears the party that he loved and represented for decades, he hears that's why he's choking on his tongue there, because That's a pretty shocking statistic. Now, it was a Gallup poll, too. It wasn't like, it wasn't done on like the Fox News Online. It was a Gallup poll. Not that Gallup's perfect, but it was. It came from one of the
has an air of legitimacy to it.
Yeah, and who knows? But at least it came from Gallup. Here's some things that I've read that I find funny. A socialist is someone that wants everything you have except for your job. not bad. This is my own. But not my own, but I don't know. I take credit for it because I don't know where I read it or heard it, but a socialist is a communist who hasn't figured out how to fire a gun. Meaning they're going to be a communist soon once they get the guts up to do the awfulness that they do. Because in the history, that's where the commies took it. Socialism leads to government controls. Okay, so really the real definition of socialism is you control the means of production, okay? And social services, welfare, building public roads, food stamps, even Social Security. What people like to do, to legitimize socialism, they try to tell you that social services is socialism. That's not it. They're two separate things. Social services is not controlling the means of productions. And you can have a ton of intellectual debates on that. And Social Security is socialism. Well, not really, because you're paying into a retirement fund that doesn't have a great return, but it has a return. That's not controlling the means of production. This is what Churchill said, is socialism is a philosophy of failure, the greed of ignorance, and the gospel of envy. And what I always say is you move towards socialism, look to the person in your town who is the most far left, the craziest far left. And now there's a lot more than there used to be. There's like people that I used to think were normal Democrats have really lost their minds. Look at them and thinking of them, say if you own a business, that you would report to them for your business, because that's how it works in socialism when you're controlling the means of production. So you look at the crazy ladies in your town that look kind of like Hillary with some extra weight on them with gray hair and skinny, effeminate husbands. Think of them running your life. That's what I do. I'm like, oh my God, if they ever get into power, they will control everything. They don't know how to run a 7-Eleven, but they will tell you everything you have to do. That's where socialism leads to. You will have some of the most ignorant people running the system for you if you keep allowing this socialism to creep in. But I'm not that worried about it. What I think is going to happen is, and I'm going to get into this in a little more detail, these blue cities are just going to go bluer. And what we talked about education, people are leaving these blue cities. They're escaping them. And they're finding better places. And a lot of those better places are in red states. That's why we better keep Pennsylvania red, people. Keep Pennsylvania red. New Jersey is dead. Keep Pennsylvania is red. If you want to move, you don't have to go. You don't have to go to Florida. Move over to if you're a right-leaning thinker and voter, go across so we can solidify that state of Pennsylvania. So we're talking about the DSA. Now, the Democratic Socialists of America, they openly, there's not a big amount of people that have registered as part of the DSA. AOC is probably the biggest known brand. Rashida Tlaib, and then you got Ilhan Omar, and you have other people. And they're winning on some state levels out in Washington State and Chicago, and they're winning some local offices. But they are getting stronger because that's where the energy is. That all the energy is in that part of the Democratic Party. And they've admitted that in a way they've actually said, we don't like the Democratic Party. We don't like traditional Democrats, but we have to use that party to launch where we want to go. They're very parasitic in a way. Different than the MAGA movement. The MAGA movement, it is kind of similar how the MAGA movement took over the Republican Party. DSA is kind of doing something that MAGA did, but there were totally different beliefs and probably a different process. We had a powerful celebrity, dynamic leader with total star power, tons of money. He moved in 2016, and he took over the party. He came in, that first debate with all 15 or 16, or they split them in two. He just came in throwing haymakers and knocked them all out. Now, the DSA, they're against the establishment too, as was Trump. Now, they have different ideas of how to fix it, completely different ideas how to fix it, but there are similarities, and that's kind of what I'm pointing out. So DSA has been more of a slow grind, and they've been taking over city councils in blue cities. They're now expanding into Congress. They just got 3 Democratic socialists in New York elected. No big deal. They're in very left-leaning they're long gone districts in New York. You're never going to get an old Democrat in there or a moderate Democrat. It's just not happening anymore. The demographics aren't there. But the Democratic Party is really a vessel for the DSA. It's a vessel, and they're going to use it to their advantage. Like when you had MAGA, we came in to end the country club, corporate neocons. MAGA took it back from those people. And then many of those people finally said, you know what? We really need to get on board with the MAGA movement because it is better for me and it's better for the country. And a lot of them have come our way. Now we have the kooky MAGAs with anti-Israel. They want the Epstein files and whatever nutty things they're saying. But they're so small. They're just a loud minority on social media. Here's the thing about MAGA: when MAGA is where the energy is, DSA is where the energy is in the Democratic Party. MAGA has seized the middle. MAGA has seized left of center and right of center. Look at like abortion. It's not really an issue. Trump didn't end abortion. He just let the states decide. That's the way it should have been. The constitutional law on it was a joke. The tariffs, that's not a conservative thing to do. Trump did it. The Trump accounts for all the new babies. This isn't hard right conservatism. So the thing with Trump is he's got gay cabinet members. He has seized both sides of the center. Now with the DSA, the only thing they can seize because of Trump is they can only seize the far left. And with that, I got more to say on this, but I know Justin's looking at me. We got to go to break, but I'm coming back to talk about MAGA versus the Democratic Socialists of America. We'll be right back.
Summer is here, and that means pool days and patio nights. But is your uneven concrete making your backyard feel more like a construction zone than a vacation spot? Stop worrying about stubbed toes and stumbles. Keystone Guncrete can level your pool deck and patio quickly and cleanly, saving you thousands over the cost of pouring new concrete. We'll have your backyard party ready before your water even gets warm. Head to KeystoneGuncrete.com. Remember, Guncrete is spelled with a K. Mention 1210 and we'll take $50 off your project.
Well, Lorenzo, the pitch looked good.
Yeah, so green.
USA keeper was decent enough.
Didn't have much to do.
99 minutes.
Not a single goal. Well, Bet365 sure came through, though. I bet $10 and got $150 in bonus bets, just for signing up.
At least someone scored.
Bet365. Winning is everything. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Pennsylvania. T's and C's apply. In-app only.
If there was ever a time to live united, it is now. Now is the time to speak with one voice, to build up, not tear down. It's time to join hands and live united against the problems that keep our communities from thriving. United Way fights for the health, education, and financial stability of every person in every community. Will you? Volunteer or donate now at unitedway.org.
As our nation marks 250 years of independence, the opportunity to grow your financial future is now. Open a growth checking account at First Harvest Credit Union and combine everyday spending convenience with the opportunity to earn up to 2% annual percentage yield on balances of $1,000 or more. Want to grow your savings even further? Explore our growth savings and competitive share and IRA certificate accounts. Get started at firstharvestcu.com/growth checking. Membership restrictions apply. Insured by NCUA.
Hey, this is Larry Steinitz with Investor Schooling. I've been talking about myself for all these years. Now it's time for you to hear from one of our great clients.
Investor Schooling lives up to the promises. Larry's a great teacher, teaches about the whole new approach to thinking about money. I've taken to heart many of the things that he's taught me, and my financial life has improved.
Come to Investor Schooling, and you could be just like Charlie and change your financial life. Go to investorschooling.com. We will see you Thursday.
You don't need another opinion, just the facts.
What caused that crash on the Schuylkill? Will it rain before the kids' game? What happened at the school board meeting last night?
At KYW News Radio, we don't take sides. We take notes, delivering the information you need to make the best decisions for your family.
The news you need whenever you need it.
Depend on KYW News Radio, Philadelphia's most trusted news leader for more than 60 years.
When you need them, your local volunteer fire department routinely answers the call. Whether it be a fire, traffic accident, or a cat stuck in a tree, there is always someone there for you. However, because of declines in memberships, departments are becoming understaffed and struggling. Here's how you can help your neighbors and your community. No matter what skills you may possess, you can make a difference. Your local volunteer fire department desperately needs your help. Can you direct traffic? Install a smoke alarm, help at fundraisers? Your community needs you. You don't have to fight fire to be a volunteer. Will you make that difference? Will you answer the call? Brought to you by the National Volunteer Firefighter Recruitment Center, a program service of the Volunteer Firefighter Alliance. For more information on how you can help and make a difference, visit www.nvfrc.org. That's www.nvfrc.org.
Searching for a new path to wellness? Dr. Molly Fantasia explains how medical hydration therapy can help you reclaim your energy. Listen to Health Watch, Sunday mornings at 8 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Keeping free speech alive. Odyssey's #1 talk station. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. WPHT.
Welcome back to the afternoon show here on 1210 WPHT. This is Tom Azelby. I will be here to 7 o'clock, and then I will be on tomorrow 8 to 9. And I think I'm doing Barry. Get a load of this. I'm doing Barry Sable from 10 to 11 on Sunday. I'm his guest.
3 days in a row?
3 days in a row. Then I come back 3 days next week, the 3 to 6 afternoon show, throwing punches. This is what I do. Anyway, I do enjoy it. So, yeah, I got a lot going on this weekend. So what I was talking about was the energy in the DSA is all the energy in the Democratic Party. The traditional Democrats, no one even knows. The Pelosi's, the Schumers, the Durbin, they're like old people in the nursing home. And the DSA are their grandchildren's fighting over the will, just waiting to take them out. That's what and believe me, this DSA has the energy, but they only have the energy in pockets of really blue districts and cities. And, I mean, it's all about identity politics, trans people, free college, and the police, open borders, reparations, no fossil fuels, tax the rich. It's not going to fly. That doesn't mean that they're not going to be heard. They're going to make a lot of people nervous just because it's like, wow. Like we saw, what's his name, Manchin. He was like, wait, what? Well, they want socialism?
We'll probably play the clip in the 6 o'clock hour. But did you see AOC's response to being asked if she was running for president in 2028?
No, I haven't. What was it?
She was very nonchalant, but the answer seemed like it's almost a guarantee.
Yeah, and she just has that. That Latin American charisma of socialism. Like like Evita or whatever. And I don't know the history on all that, but like there's just something about people find her captivating. And I looked into this too. When they called her a bartender, I was like, well, let me go in and really look at what her background was. And she has no resume. Before she was bartending, and she was a waitress, and then she worked at some Hispanic thing for kids, which was a nonprofit. But she didn't there was no documentation if she had a salary, what was her real title. It was kind of like, it sounded like an internship. But I always thought that was an exaggeration of the right. So let me tell you, that the fact that she was a bartender and has gotten to where she is, that doesn't hurt her. There's a lot of working class people in this country. They want that.
Yeah, it was the National Hispanic Institute that she worked at.
Is that, yeah. And when I tried to look in like what she really did there, it was hard to like find out like was it really a career, or was it like a placeholder until she decided to get into politics or fill out her life. But her real way of making money, even though she kind of grew up in a nice home out in Westchester, her dad was an architect, but they got divorced. But they could have had financial troubles. A lot of people have great careers and run into financial troubles, or their families do. But with her specifically, there is a charisma to her. No matter how much you can't stand her, she is going to generate a lot of energy, and you are going to start seeing her kind of tone down her rhetoric if she really starts making it. But don't forget who she is. She is an outright communist. She's part of the Democratic Socialists of America. That's who she is. But my guess is if what you just saw in that interview, if she keeps progressing, she's going to have a lot of energy. I would not be surprised if she wins the nomination. But then people will say to me, and I'll retract that, walk it back a little bit, is that the old guard of the Democratic Party has kicked out Bernie in the past. They kicked out Joe Biden. But I'm thinking at some point, that power base can't resist the momentum of what their people might want.
Honestly, what I believe, I don't think she's going to run in 2028 for president, at least.
Yeah,
I'm still steadfast in the belief that she's gunning for Schumer's Senate seat, because I have a feeling like in the next two to 4 years, Schumer out, and then Hakeem's not too far behind him. I think you're going to see a total upheaval of the hierarchy of the Democratic Party.
Yeah, and you know what? And that would probably be the safer play for her to do, and it's probably right. But I'm just saying she's got the energy, and whatever candidate that comes out, well, you know, if Trump. And I don't want to list all the great things that are going on. Like I hear so many people on the right complaining about stuff. And then when you go through what's really going on in the economy, what is going on in all different parts of what people put together to vote, Trump's getting a lot of negative press, but there's a lot of good things that are happening, from building chips, from energy production. Like, I mean, I don't want to bore you. You've all heard it before, but things are moving in the right direction. That's my belief. With that, we're going to go to break. We're going to come back with my guest, Philip K. Howard, Saving Can Do, How to Revive the Spirit of America. We'll have him on right after the break.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for buying gas. That's right. You can earn cash back with Upside just for buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside, and just last year, I made nearly $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get cash back? If you like extra cash, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back when you fill your tank. Use promo code FRESH to get an extra 35 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code FRESH for a 35 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code FRESH for a 35 cents per gallon bonus.
Man, I love this place. I've been surfing here since I was a kid. Now, seeing my grandson out on the water, it means everything to me. Watching him and taking in the blue waves, the sea breeze, the blurry horizon.
If you have geographic atrophy, or GA, subtle changes in vision could mean it's progressing toward irreversible vision loss. Azelby is proven to slow GA progression and could help preserve your vision for longer, so you may keep seeing the world around you. Azelby, or avacincaptad pegol, is an eye injection. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Azelby can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Azelby may cause blood in the white of the eye, blurred vision, or a temporary increase in eye pressure. Do not drive or use machinery until vision has recovered after an eye injection or exam. Ask your retina specialist how you can slow your GA with Azelby. To learn more, call 1-855-Azelby or go to Azelby.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
I've always wanted to learn French, but the app I tried didn't help.
If you want to memorize words in another language, there's an app for that. But if you want to really learn another language, there's Babbel. Babbel was designed by over 200 language learning experts to be the most effective way to learn another language.
With other language learning apps, I was just playing games. I wasn't really learning. Babbel's different. Every time I open the app, I can choose to work on my writing, speaking, or listening. And it saves my mistakes for me to review, so I'm constantly improving. Babbel feels like it was created intentionally by people who really know what you need to learn another language. Before Babbel, I thought I just wasn't good with languages. But now I'm speaking French. Tout ça, c'est grâce à Babbel.
Want to really learn another language? Save up to 50% on your Babbel subscription when you sign up at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com to save up to 50%. Babbel.com.
From ABC News, I'm Chuck Sievertson. A federal appeals court clears the way for the Trump administration to get the immediate replacement of the slavery exhibit in Philadelphia. The city is appealing. ABC News national correspondent Stephen Portnoy.
Critics have said that the administration aims to whitewash and censor the site, removing the images of the beating and shooting of enslaved black men. Critics say it's offensive for the new panels to highlight George Washington's apparent discomfort with slavery and his claim in writing that his servants had a modicum of autonomy in Philadelphia.
The court said the new panels that would go up are full of history and acknowledge the evils of slavery. Police in Dearborn, Michigan, are investigating a shooting at a shopping mall at Fairlane Town Center. This employee at one of the stores says he heard the shots.
When that commotion started and gunshots, everybody panicked and started running.
No word from Dearborn police about casualties yet. Heat is one problem for millions today. Forecasters say there could be violent storms in the Midwest, extending to the East Coast, New York, Philly, and Baltimore into tomorrow. Defining patriotism as something more than just loving your country and pretending it's without flaws, New York City Mayor Zoran Mondani, marking America's 250th.
At every moment in our past, those who led through exclusion and isolation have tried to win power and enrich themselves by turning us against one another. Division is the oldest trick in politics and the cheapest. But time and again, including 250 years ago, those forces of division have been vanquished by the forces of progress.
Months after Belgium's diamond industry won the removal of U.S. tariffs on diamond imports, that industry gifted a giant diamond ring to President Trump. In honor of America's 250th, it contains 321 diamonds, 56 sapphires, 13 emeralds, and 6 rubies. You're listening to ABC News.
Hot summer days and high energy bills are on the way. Upgrade your home's old leaky windows this month with Window Nation at 50% off all window styles. Yes, 50% off new, beautiful, energy-efficient windows, plus 0 down, 0 interest, and no payments for 2 years. Call now, 866-200-8670 or windownation.com. In select markets, trust our family of brands, New South Window and ArmorView. That's 866-200-8670 or windownation.com to book a consultation.
Ever wonder why you have insurance for your car or home, but not your digital life? Meet WebRoot Total Protection, your digital bodyguard that includes antivirus, identity protection, VPN, cloud backup, and more. With plans for individuals and families, WebRoot takes the guessing game out of cybersecurity, so you can get back to living your best life online. Go to webroot.com/protect and get 60% off today. That's webroot.com/protect to get 60% off today. Live a better digital life with WebRoot, because peace of mind shouldn't be optional.
Hotel staffers in Houston discovered 3 people dead inside their room after opening the locked door with a special pass key, police say.
They found an approximately 40-year-old female deceased from an apparent gunshot wound, apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound. There was also a 6-year-old female and a 9-year-old male, both deceased from gunshot wounds.
Houston Police Lieutenant Larry Krausen says it's believed to be a murder-suicide, but investigators will have to confirm that. 4th of July holiday coincides with the first anniversary of deadly flash flooding in Texas Hill Country.
The flood-damaged cars and buildings have been cleared away, but the emotional healing is more complicated.
Some people might be like, I'm ready to process immediately. Some people aren't.
Jocelyn Chamara Barrera is a mental health counselor in Central Texas. Events planned for the weekend in the flood zone are meant to help.
Sometimes that's a lot of what people need, is just being together with other folks.
To celebrate the nation's birthday and remember the 137 people who died in the flood of 2025. Jim Ryan, ABC News in Dallas-Fort Worth.
WPHT, HD, WOGL, HD3, Philadelphia. From the Piazza Premium Automobile Studios.
Powering your drive with 10 brands and 20 locations.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. Now, The Drive at 5. 30 minutes of nonstop talk. From Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Justin, that is. Join Tom on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Welcome back to the afternoon show. This is Tom Azelby. I'll be here with you to 7 o'clock tonight. I have a guest coming up, and it's Philip K. Howard. And I didn't get to read Philip's new book, but I saw people talking about it online, and I love the topic, and I will get to read that book. And the book is Saving Can Do, How to Revive the Spirit of America. And before I invited Philip on, or after I invited Philip on, I found out that he wrote the book Death of Common Sense. This was a huge bestseller back in 1994 and 1995. Now, his book, Saving Can Do, How to Revive the Spirit of America, it argues, and I think The Death of Common Sense did too, argues like all about the regulation and the law that has paralyzed America. And I actually think that his new book, Saving Can Do, is perfect timing with our country's 250th anniversary. So I want to welcome Philip K. Howard to the show. How are you, Philip?
Happy 4th, Tom.
It's great to have you. And, you know, before I get into the interview, I was really interested in your background. You ended up at Yale, and then you went to the UVA Law School, and now you're in Covington and Burling. I was hanging out with a couple of guys. One was attorney, one works at NFL Films. Like, yeah, that's a very prestigious firm, but your history, your dad was a Presbyterian preacher, and you were you grew up in Kentucky. Where you ended up, I always find those stories really interesting. Give my listeners a little bit of background, because I think it's important because people's life experience, as you know, that's why it makes you think in a certain way and write certain books.
Yeah, well, it's better to be lucky than good. I had my father, I had 2 older brothers who were good athletes and real Southern boys, and I was sort of a little bit more of a bookworm.
Yeah.
And my father didn't think I fit in that great, so he kind of nosed around, and through his efforts, I eventually got a full scholarship to a boarding school. I think it's because of geographical diversity.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
they didn't have anybody from Kentucky,
Right.
from Eastern Kentucky especially. So then I sort of, fell into these good schools, and I was a good student and such. But then the real break also came to my father. He was retired, and he had a friend who had been who was a retired chemist at the Oak Ridge National Laboratory. And my father said, well, my son needs a summer job after his freshman year of college, after my freshman year.
Right.
And so I ended up getting a job, I think as part of a federal poverty program.
Right.
At the Oak Ridge National Lab. And most of the people in this program were mowing lawns, but they saw that I was going to Yale. So they made me the gopher to a Nobel Prize winner named Eugene Wigner.
Right.
And I worked there for 3 summers. I published a paper on post-nuclear war recovery.
Right.
So I was working with the smartest people in the world. I mean, it was really an incredible education to spend the day with people. There were 2 Nobel Prize winners on the corridor, all these other scientists and economists. And, it's hard to, when you're growing up, it's hard to know, have any confidence in your own judgment and such, and figure out what you're good at. And being with those people made me understand both what I was good at and some of the things maybe I wasn't so good at.
Right. Right.
And so it was a big break. And having the kind of knowing yourself is a real power in life, to have a sense of who you are and what you have to offer. So I was lucky.
No, and you know what? And that's what life's all about, like showing up and where you end up. I find that so interesting how people will come from, a certain background, no matter what it is, and then they just end up in some of you've ended up in some of the most powerful places in the world. As a young student, you're hanging around with Nobel Peace Prize. How that happens from a kid from Kentucky is a great story, and I love it. So let's get to your book, because I'm sure that upbringing and the people you met and being an attorney, I love the title, Saving Can Do. Like that attitude. I was an entrepreneur for 30 years. If I didn't have a can-do attitude, I would have been finished, because there was a lot of suffering along that path. But
right.
give my listeners a little bit of background on this book.
Yeah. So, we reorganized American society after the 1960s so that we wouldn't have any more abuses of authority like segregation and pollution and such. And changing those values was a good idea. But the geniuses back in the 60s thought that in the age of new technology, we could actually turn law and government into kind of a software program. So that all you have to do is comply with law. So before then, there's no such thing as a 1,000-page rule book.
Right.
I mean, the Constitution is 7,500 words long.
Right.
Today, the body of American law and federal law and regulation, binding law, is over 150 million words.
Wow.
Not only tell people what to do, don't pollute or don't discriminate or whatever, but telling people exactly how to do it. And so what happens is, first of all, it doesn't work because it's like central planning, right?
Right. Yeah.
Secondly, it makes people go brain dead. Third, people of a certain disposition game the system for their self-interest, because the question on the table isn't let's do the right thing or what makes sense here. The question on the table is, am I complying with law? Do I have to do it this way?
Right.
And then they find fissures in the cracks of law, and people go in there and make money doing it. And
Right.
it's just, but it all boils down to one bad idea, which is that law can supplant human judgment. That's not true.
Right.
Human judgment is certainly fallible, and but it's not objective. We're all, our judgment comes from our training, our instincts, our intuition, our values, the sense of right and wrong, all of that. And every choice in life involves trade-offs.
Right.
Do I need to do this quickly, or can I wait, a year? I mean, it takes us 5 or 10 years just to give a permit to build a transmission line.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane. I mean, the Interstate Highway Act was passed in 1956. It was 29 pages long, and in 10 years, America had built over 20,000 miles of interstate highway. The last transportation bill in Congress was almost 1,000 pages long.
Right.
And it would take 10 years just to get approval to build one section of a highway.
It's like the rule book is completely killing the game. It's like,
right.
Yeah.
Right. And so you can't. So I'm in the middle of talking to some former attorneys general and governors and such about starting, I won't even call it a movement. I'll just call it a group of people who think that we need a new set of governing principles, because we can't get to any place good by reforming the 150 million words of binding federal law. That's like a red tape jungle.
Right.
You go out there with shears, and you clip away, and it just keeps growing back, right? So we need to replace it. So, for example, I'll give you an example.
Sure.
There are like 4,000 worker safety rules. There are pages on what constitutes an industrial grade hammer, all this kind of stuff. There's a rule that says stairwells shall be lit by natural or artificial light. Well, that's helpful.
All right.
I mean, how else are they going to be lit, right? I mean, so it's like idiotic to put that in a rule. It's like, it's like air should have oxygen.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like it's incredibly stupid. So
right.
So these 4,000 rules, let's say 2/3 of them could be replaced by one principle. Facilities, tools, and equipment shall be reasonably suited for the use intended in accord with industry standards. Now, that doesn't tell people exactly what to do.
Right.
But it lets them know that if they're on a construction project, they need an industrial grade hammer.
Yep.
And if the bookkeeper is tacking pictures on his office wall, he can use a dime store hammer. Right.
Right.
They're different uses. Right.
Yeah.
So we need to kind of not just bicker about what government should be doing, which is what the parties do. There's plenty to argue about there.
Right.
But I think what's really needed, I think what Americans are practical people. Here we are, our 250th anniversary right now, and Americans are famous for rolling up their sleeves and making stuff happen. Well, we've got to give back people the power to do that.
Right. And I guess people will get discouraged because their first thing would be, well, they'll never let you do it. Or what would you tell them? Where do you start to try to take on this 150 million regulation? Well, like, what does it look like in the real world? Like, what are the first two steps that you got to do to start this momentum?
Okay. Well, so I'm talking to some I won't mention their names because I don't have permission to, but I'm talking to some sort of well-known again, former Attorney General, that sort of thing.
Right.
And so we're working on a statement of principles. And this would just be a few pages, but it would be basically saying that we have to move from a legal micromanagement model to a human responsibility model, where law, like the Constitution, sets goals and principles, and it has people in charge of the law to tend to man the gates and everything. But it doesn't work like central planning.
Right.
It doesn't try to tell people how to interact with other people during the day. I mean, give me a break.
Yeah.
What does law have to do with human relations? It's supposed to be a free society. Why can't somebody be rude and just lose their job because of it?
Right. No, it's insanity.
Yeah. So the first step, I think, is to have a statement of principles.
Yeah.
We're gonna do that in the next, over the course of the summer. Get some leading citizens to kind of begin to talk about it and sort of acculturate it with others. Host some public forums in different cities. Maybe we do one in New York, do one in Chicago, maybe do one. Do we need to reboot the system?
Yeah.
And I'm actually curating a 20-part series for the Free Press that's going to come out in a couple of weeks on the need to reboot everything. And I've got all these, well-known people writing one-page things saying, this is broken, here's what ought to replace it. And we've got people like General H.R. McMaster and former Governor Mitch Daniels and Reed Hastings talking about AI in schools.
Yeah.
And,
that's big. I get that.
Yeah. So the whole idea is to get a conversation going, and then we can begin to interest your listeners and begin to get their ideas. We don't have the website for I run a little nonprofit called commongood.org.
Yep.
So your listeners can just sign up. It's free. And I'll be announcing all of this on that website, but other groups will be as well.
And I think the Free Press, who I actually have on the show, some of their writers, I think that's a very good place to start this type of movement. So the way that I'm interpreting it, like you just demonstrated all the codes, the regulations, the red tape. And so you got to let everyone know what they look like. And you just explained a few, like you got to use a certain hammer or you got to light the hallway. And once you tell people what the problem is, and then say, if we simplify it by doing this and getting the conversation started, that's the beginning of looking for some type of change in the system.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And then maybe we can get a presidential candidate in 2028 to begin to talk this way.
Yeah.
And then Americans understand how dumb the system is.
Yeah.
They know
do.
It's broken.
Yep.
I mean, the biggest problem is that Americans don't like it, but they've given up because every reformer fails.
Yeah, they've thrown their hands up. There's no doubt about that. The American people are like, it's like I'm not climbing Mount Everest with no oxygen, but it's not. It's only going to get worse. Maybe this will at least slow it down, or life's about percentages. Like, get people thinking about removing half of this nonsense.
Yeah, more than half. So you should, I'll give you an example. Of a couple of decades ago in Australia, they had, like America does, lousy nursing homes. They had a 1,000-page rule book saying how to do everything. And somebody had the bright idea of replacing the 1,000 pages with 31 general principles.
Yep.
Have a home-like setting. Respect the dignity of the residents. That sort of thing.
Yeah.
The experts scoff. These nursing home owners are going to get away with murder, blah, blah, blah. they went and investigated a year later. What they found was that the nursing homes were twice as good.
Yeah.
And the reason they were twice as good is because the people who worked in the nursing homes, instead of spending their day with their noses in the rule books,
Yeah.
trying to comply with the exact weight of the peas in the meal and,
Yeah.
how many pictures on the wall or all this kind of baloney, they actually paid attention to what the residents wanted. It was just a much more human and kind place because people weren't obsessing over the law and over compliance with the rules and worried about getting sued and all that kind of stuff.
I'm fascinated by this subject, and it's similar to I had someone on from the Step Up program with vouchers and how well they're working in Florida. And there's so much, and it's so simple, like how to apply for it, and it helps every kid from every demographic. But I will ask you this, the resistance, because all these rules are an industry within themselves, right? Where people like those rules because if you break them, there's a way to get compensation. I'm saying, and I haven't thought this through, but there will be big forces that try to step in your way. Do you think?
Are you kidding? Of course there are.
Of course.
All of Washington is dedicated to the status quo. So all those interest groups, all those people make a lot of money making sure nothing changes.
Yes. Yeah.
And so that's why we need a simple idea and get the Americans to begin to get excited about it. And the simple idea is put humans in charge again. Let people take responsibility and let other people hold them accountable. It's a free country.
Yeah.
Let's let Americans act like Americans again. Right?
Yeah, no, I get it. And let me ask you, I want to follow up, because we're talking about a lot of government regulation. This red tape and bureaucracy, and some of it's in response to the government that has happened in the private industry. But even the private industry seems to be now full of red tape and bureaucracy to get your doctor on the phone, to get like even in the private sector, or get someone from Comcast Cable. It seems like everybody red tape and bureaucracy is spread from the government into the private sector, making everyone's life harder.
Completely. Well, there is a kind of an insidious aspect to red tape, which is once you get in mind that you're supposed to comply with something rather than simply get the job done, then everybody starts writing rules, and the rules become a kind of a sort of a safety net. People, you can't get in trouble if you follow the rules. So, that's not how America became great. America became great because people had a vision and they made something happen. If you look at any good school or any good agency, or look at Shapiro rebuilding I-95 in Philadelphia, a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
It's people rolling up their sleeves and making decisions to make something happen. There's Thomas Edison had this great line. He said, "Nothing that's any good works by itself. You got to make the damn thing work."
Yes, exactly.
And that's true with everything. It's true with running a classroom. It's true with solving a problem at the Bureau of Motor Vehicles. So we need to get back to that culture. I mean, that's the spirit of America. It's not people plotting through a legal labyrinth.
Yeah, no, it's Philip, I got to go to break, but what you're on to, I find it's so important, and it affects just the regulations themselves. People, it metastasizes into our whole society where it kills innovation. And I want to plug your book, that Saving Can Do. You want to learn more about Philip K. Howard and how he has a solution for all this red tape, all this bureaucracy. get to Amazon, Borders, or Barnes & Noble. Save Can Do, How to Revive the Spirit of America. Philip, it was great to have you. I love this concept, and whatever you put out there, I'm going to be following. Thanks for joining us today on 1210.
Thanks so much, Tom.
Great to have you, Philip. We're going to go to break. We'll be right back.
You can listen to Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the iHeartRadio app. Kale and Company, weekday mornings, 6 till 10.
You've got bikes, you've got scooters, you've got delivery drivers. Now we have robots. What does it say about a city? And I get it, this is the direction of technology. All of the extra technology that's moving as you're trying to move in an already congested city, I think there's going to be a lot of pushback and resistance to the robots here in Philadelphia. Short of the bougie crowd that's going to love it in and around Market and Chestnut.
Send me my Chipotle. Oh, there's a robot from Uber. Like, are we that lazy?
Start your day with Kale and Company, weekday mornings, 6 till 10 on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
Every year, millions of Americans use opioids to manage pain. And reliance on opioids has led to the worst drug crisis in American history. That's why the CDC recommends safer alternatives like physical therapy to manage pain. Physical therapists treat pain through movement, hands-on care, and patient education. No warning labels required. When it comes to your health, you have a choice. Choose physical therapy. Visit moveforwardpt.com to find a physical therapist in your area.
You've probably heard all those ads for life insurance. Just a few dollars a day, apply online in minutes, no medical exam. Simple, easy, and cheap, right? Now you're thinking, maybe I should get a quote. Well, smart thinking. Everyone should have life insurance. But here's what they don't tell you. Those few dollars a day rates, they're for young people in perfect health. That's why everyone calls Big Lou the 50 to 60-year-old not-so-perfect candidate. Like you. You take prescription meds and you're overweight. Winner, fried chicken dinner. Well, Big Lou works with life insurance companies that want people like you with no surprises after you apply. In fact, if you're a 50-year-old guy with a few health glitches, Lou could probably find you $1 million of term life coverage for about $200 a month. So, yeah, you need life insurance. But unless you're young and healthy, you gotta call Big Lou because he's like you, older, heavier, and on meds, too. Get a quote right now at 800-700-6898, 800-700-6898, or biglou.com.
In Africa, 5-year-old Chiru has no choice. She and millions like her must walk miles every day for dirty water. But together, we can end their walk by providing clean water close by. Instead of spending hours walking to get water that makes them sick, girls can be in a classroom that expands their minds, and moms will gain back time to care for their families. Sons and daughters can grow up strong, finally free of sicknesses caused by dirty water. At World Vision, care about clean water runs deep. Deep enough to reach one new person with clean water every 10 seconds. Because every child, every person, everywhere deserves clean water and a chance to rise to their full potential. It's true. When you just add water, you change a life. Learn more at worldvision.org.
What's one of your favorite memories?
That's a tough question. Well, there was this one time I went camping with my parents in a forest back when I was maybe like 8 or 9. And I can remember one night we were laying out in our hammocks and we were just, watching the trees rustling in the wind above us, and we could hear the sounds of the forest all around us. Frogs singing and owls calling and the creek running nearby. It was amazing. It felt like we were a part of it all. I don't know if I do it justice trying to describe it, but I'll definitely never forget it.
Most of us have a memory of being in nature we'll never forget. Let's protect the world's natural places so more memories can be made for generations to come. Visit worldwildlife.org.
Progressive Insurance. Progressive can protect your home, auto, boat, motorcycle, ATV, RV, and more. In short, a lot of things. Bundle today at progressive.com.
Broadcasting live from the Piazza Premium Automobile Studios.
Powering your drive with 10 brands and 20 locations.
Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
Welcome back to 1210 WPHT. This is Tom Azelby hosting the afternoon show to 7 o'clock. Not to 6 o'clock, but to 7 o'clock. So, but believe me, I got plenty more to talk about. Let me tell you about that Philip K. Howard. You talk about where he was from in Kentucky. His father was a Presbyterian minister. That man is full of wisdom. And that subject of saving can do, how to revive the spirit of America. Believe me, America's been set back by all this bureaucracy and red tape, and and no one talks about it enough. It's not talked about. So I am such a big fan of his, and and listen, this guy is smart, and listen, he's a power. Where he works, this law firm, and he's like senior counsel there. This is one of the most powerful law firms in the world. Where he didn't want to brag who he was going to talk about with this new thing, this thing that he's building with other people. This guy is very well connected, just based on where he sits in his day-to-day job as an attorney. So I wish I wish him much success, because it'll be good for America. And I think we're 250 years in on this experiment. And red tape and bureaucracy is holding us back. But guys like Philip K. Howard, I think, are doing the best they can to change that. So let's move on. I guess we'll do another. I'm going to get back to AOC. I'm going to get back, but I want to throw someone else under the bus before we go back to throwing her under the bus.
AOC is such an easy target. Let's switch it up for a little bit.
Okay, this might be an easier target. Chuck Todd.
Oh,
Chuck
God.
Todd. Do you have my clip with Chuck Todd? Because I don't know. I find this. I just don't like him, and I think he was a terrible pick to take over for Tim Russert after Tim Russert Meet the Press at NBC. He dies of a heart attack at 58 in 2008. And Tim Russert, I don't think, a lot of people say they didn't know what his politics were. He was kind of hard on everyone. He knew his subject. And then to think that Chuck Todd was able to sit in that chair doesn't make any sense to me. And this is why, because let's play the clip of Chuck Todd.
Bottom line is that Donald Trump's destroyed the American brand. It doesn't mean it's unrecoverable. The American brand is durable. It's strong. But the American brand right now is in the shitter, and there's only one CEO of the American brand at a time, and that CEO is Donald Trump, and it has driven it into a ditch, which is why Americans feel the way they are. He went out of his way to make Americans feel uncomfortable. He went out of his way to tell certain Americans they don't belong in this country. He went out.
Okay. Yeah, that was his little rant. No wonder why he's not working at Meet the Press anymore. That Donald Trump has killed the American brand. And we could go all through the things what's going on with the American brand. It's funny. All the Europeans that have finally gotten over here for the World Cup are all doing videos of how great America is. So I don't think the brand's hurting that bad.
Did you see the Japanese people were celebrating the 4th of July harder than some of these liberal cities and liberal figureheads are?
Yeah, because you know what? People see how great this place is. But this Chuck Todd, they just make up this stuff, like how he's killed the brand. He's done peace deals all over the world. Our energy is up. If you look at our the data of the economy, everything's moving in the right direction. He's killing the brand because he's killing Chuck Todd's brand of the Democratic Party. This guy Trump is doing things is doing things that I know a lot of people, even on our side, want to get into the Debbie Downer, my mother used to say. Everything's bad, everything's bad. Chuck Todd doesn't have a clue. He should have never sat in that seat. But, the guy David Gregory, who was before them, we'll do a little Meet the Press here. That guy was so stiff and boring. Stiff and boring. He was like, someone described it as plastic energy. Now, then you go to Chuck Todd, and I just keep going back to Tim Russert. You go to Chuck Todd. it's just kind of a squealing, annoying teacher's pet. That's what he reminds me of. He did play the French horn in high school. I did look that up. And I love people, but listen, I always admire people that can play instruments. Unless they play an instrument and they're in the band and they talk and behave like him, then I start like ribbing them. Here's another thing. If the brand is so killed, right? Why are foreign countries and companies investing capital in America faster than ever before under Donald Trump? Direct investments. He's blowing the numbers are through the roof with all the investments coming in from foreign countries, foreign hedge funds, investors. That's no one invests in a bad brand. You run from a bad brand. You don't invest in it. And that is, I just don't get it.
And how much positive PR have we seen on social media from foreigners who have come here for the World Cup? Like, if we're such a bad brand, if the brand is so damaged, why are we getting this influx of positive experiences, positive engagement, positive everything about like people who are coming here for the World Cup?
Yeah, you know why? Because it always comes back to this. The Democrats have to build it's a 24/7 narrative that, like, the narrative before, I think, was let's create, it wasn't like Trump is creating all this chaos in the world. That's why we're protesting and people are getting shot in the street. It was like, let's try the chaos thing, that people will see so much chaos that we got to get him out. No matter what, if you like him or don't like him, if you want the chaos to start, he's got to go. It's kind of like holding a gun to your head. So create a lot of chaos, blame it on him. He's got to go. And that was the narrative. Now I guess the narrative is that somehow Donald Trump is ruining the American brand. Because if he's saying it, there's going to be 30 or 40 other people in the media like Chuck Todd saying the same thing. But like, is anyone really listening to him though? I mean, he doesn't really have a big platform. It's like guys like me that go dig him off of Kaliz's whatever he did. He's another guy on his own podcast.
Joy Reid is foaming at the mouth hearing that, ready to fire up another incredibly intelligent take similar to Chuck's.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. So they get it out there and they just try to feed a narrative to you. Quite frankly, I don't think the American brand is. I think right now it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Yeah. It's probably almost at all-time highs.
Yeah. The only thing is the Iran war is obviously is going to put, when you go to war is a bad thing and it's a tough thing. But I think Trump's doing a great job on it. Matter of fact, he's got a giant stick hanging over their head. It's not like he's going to send in people to build water treatment plants in Iran and voting booths and schools. He's not doing that. I actually think it's a pretty good strategy. And it's the same thing I said about Ukraine earlier in the show. Seems like things are going his way. But you know what? These narratives are not going to stop. They're not going to stop. So we got to we're probably just, barking up the tree that we're getting upset about Chuck Todd. But I like more of the personal attack. And the personal attack on Chuck Todd, that whiny kind of approach he has. No, why did anyone ever put him on Meet the Press? Like Gregory was a plastic mannequin, boring or whatever. But this guy he's the worst. He's the worst, but he's gone now. Who does even, what? All these networks are dying. I don't even know who the host of Meet the Press is anymore. I used to watch it religiously. But you know what? Those days are gone. And it's not all because Chuck Todd sucked on the air. Like we said before, the world is changing. There's a lot more choices. You got podcasts. You got a phone in your hand. You can look at whatever you want. You don't have to get directed to whatever was that one source anymore. So
it's Kristen Welker. She hosts Meet the Press.
Yeah, I know her name, and but like, who cares? Who knows anymore? But I mean, you know what? With all this fragmentation, you know what it brings? A lot more opportunity for people. When it's a fragmented industry, usually industries consolidate, and then you can get you can get pushed out. But in the media now, it's so fragmented. Like I'm sitting here, talking to this audience. I've gotten an opportunity to do that. But there's a lot of fragmentation, but fragmentation, I actually think sometimes competes more opportunity for a lot of different people than when it starts consolidating. Because once it consolidates, there's less buyers and the market is monopolized. So anyway, fragmentation, to me, I kind of like it. I think it creates opportunity. With that, we're going to take a break, but we'll be right back.
Download to see if you qualify. Not all customers will qualify. Transfer fees may apply. No Albert subscription required. Albert is not a bank. Albert Instant Loans are issued by FinWise Bank, member FDIC. Not an actual client. Terms apply.
Kylie, what's wrong?
I just got hit with a car repair bill. I'm behind on rent, and I feel like I can never save any money.
Have you tried the Albert app? Albert is your financial assistant, helping you find ways to save and create custom budgets to actually grow your money. Plus, you can get up to $10,000 for big expenses, or advance up to $1,000 fast when you need cash right away.
Albert can get me up to $10,000?
Exactly. Albert spots you in a pinch and helps you grow your money in the long run.
I'm downloading Albert right now.
Download the Albert app and use promo code BALANCE to borrow up to $10,000 for whatever you need. The Albert app helps you budget better and save more money so you reach your financial goals faster. Download the Albert app right now and use promo code BALANCE to borrow up to $10,000. Use code BALANCE to borrow up to $10,000.
It feels like every day there's something in the headlines that could make you wonder to yourself, is now even a good time to retire?
So many people are waiting, and those folks are going to be waiting a really long time, I hate to say, because there's no perfect time. The market is always unpredictable and volatile.
Fortunately, Jim Cipriotti has been helping people get to, through, and beyond retirement for over 28 years, and each week he wants to help give you that freedom to retire. Listen to Freedom to Retire with Jim Cipriotti Saturdays and Sundays at 6 a.m., 9 a.m., and 5 p.m. on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
My obstructive hypertrophic cardiomyopathy kept me from baseball games with my boys. The stairs were too much. With Camzyos, my symptoms have improved and I can be more active again. Camzyos is a cardiac myosin inhibitor, the first in its class to treat adults with symptomatic OHCM. Camzyos may improve your symptoms and ability to be active, and it reduced obstruction in the heart 4 times more.
In a 30-week study, Camzyos, mavacamten, reduced post-exercise obstruction on average 47 units of pressure versus 10 with placebo. Results may vary. Camzyos may cause serious side effects, including heart failure that can lead to death, a risk that's increased with serious infection, irregular heartbeat, or with certain other medicines. Do not stop, start, or change medicines or dose without telling your doctor. You must have echocardiograms before and during treatment. Seek help for new or worsening heart failure symptoms. Camzyos is only available through a restricted program. Before taking, tell your doctor about all your medical conditions and current or planned pregnancy, as Camzyos may harm your unborn baby.
Visit Camzyos.com or call 1-855-CAMZYOS. Actor portrayal.
No! USA is up 2-0. That is the most dangerous lead in soccer.
Relax, Mike.
See that, Dan? My left eye is twitching. That's my warning eye. It'll be 2-2 by stoppage time. It's never wrong.
With early payout from Bet365, I got paid the second they went up 2 goals. So to me, it's now the safest lead.
Early payout from Bet365, huh? Now my right eye is twitching, Dan.
Bet365. Winning is everything. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Pennsylvania. T's and C's apply. In-app only.
Let me tell you something about insurance. When you sign your insurance policy, for some brokers, that's the finish line. Handshake, commission, done. Then you may not hear from them again until it's time for renewal. But your business runs all year. So do the gaps and the risk. So go to supersure.com. If your company has more than 25 employees, whether you're the owner, CFO, or HR manager, it can be too complex to just go buy a policy online. Supersure is the super agency built for you, licensed in every state for your business insurance and employee benefits, all with year-round support for you and your team. At supersure.com, you can access tools like fine print facts. It'll translate your current policy into plain English so you see what's covered and what's not. Plus a business value calculator so you can estimate what your business is worth so you know what actually needs protecting. Go to supersure.com. One super agency, one powerful platform, all your policies in one place. Supersure.com. That's supersure.com. Paid for by Supersure Insurance Agency, LLC, a licensed insurance agency.
Follow Talk Radio 1210 on Instagram and Facebook at 1210 WPHT.
Welcome back to 1210 WPHT in Philadelphia. This is Tom Azelby, your afternoon host. We'll be going to 7 o'clock tonight. We're going to go back to, we were discussing the Democratic Socialists of America before earlier in the show, but AOC came up. We're going to play that AOC about her running, and then I'm going to get into something else about the DSA, Democratic Socialists of America, who I tell you, they got a lot of energy, but that energy is very concentrated in very blue, kooky inner city districts throughout America. But they do have the energy. But let's see what their leader, because she is the leader and she is a member of the party. Bernie isn't, by the way, but he gets all their support. He's a different type of socialist. Some people actually join the DSA. Some people are socialists, but they're something different. So let's see what AOC said about running.
J.D. Vance just said in an interview that he thinks you are going to be the leading Democratic candidate for president in 2028. What's your response to that?
I mean, I hope he is. That's what I'll say.
That he's a Republican nominee?
Yeah.
Congresswoman, the Supreme Court ruled that trans.
Yeah. What?
Look at that smile. You can just tell. I hope he is.
Yeah.
All like coy and.
It really, that's the problem. That's one thing that's refreshing about Donald Trump. He just tells you what he feels. People are always like, politicians never tell you the truth.
I hate this game of being all coy, nonchalant.
Yeah. Now Trump,
maybe.
Yeah, maybe. And then Trump comes out and just says what, and then people are like, I wish he didn't talk or tweet as much. Well, I get that, but at least he's telling you exactly how he feels. He's completely transparent. And that's when I would hear the country club type. Oh, well, I wish he'd shut his mouth a little bit and stop with the Twitter. I'm like, he's just telling you how he feels. If you don't like it, you don't have to agree with it, but at least you know. With her, I can't tell you what I'm going to do, but I'm starting to agree with you. She's looking for a Senate seat first because she doesn't want to run against J.D. Vance. She doesn't want to run against Rubio or maybe DeSantis or wherever. They'll eat her alive. In this stage, they'll eat her alive. So I wouldn't want J.D. Vance in, but she probably does want Schumer's seat. He's old. He's washed up. Trump has wrecked him like he wrecked Rosie O'Donnell. Anyway, that being said, the DSA, one of their core principles, which is unbelievable because they are part of the Democratic Party, is to be anti-Israel. And the DSA has a complete anti-Jewish mentality. And it's not just rhetoric. You take and there's a lot of Democrats who are part of the DSA who are actually Jewish. And, the thing from the river to the sea, what all the college kids were singing and stating, and that was their reframe. What that means, it says, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. So that's from the Jordan to the river, to the Mediterranean. The Mediterranean. So it's the two bodies of water. What sits between those two waters is Israel. It's state. It's a territory. They're right there. So when you sing that song and you start doing that chant, and this chant was made by the PLO, that was Arafat. It was a well-known terrorist. That was his top thing on his resume. And the PFLP, the Popular Front for Liberation of Palestine, they were both considered terrorist groups by everyone. They hijacked planes, they put bombs on buses, and that was their slogan, from the river to the sea. And basically everyone knows what that chant means, and they'll try to make excuses and say that's not the truth, but it's no more Israel. Because if from the river to the sea, that means we're getting you out of here. You know what? This is, if it was like a legitimate song from people, young people, the DSA, this is how I wrote my own lyrics to it. I'm kind of stepping on Newman Price's toes here. But from the river to the sea, the Jews and Palestinians will live in harmony. I wrote that, Justin.
Nice.
Yeah, that's nice. We could put, you know what? Someone should put that to music. That's all I'm saying. But but when they sing it the old way, based on the people who came up with that chant, Arafat and the PLO, and what their tactics were, even if they had any, but they're so brazen, if they had any like political common sense, they would change the wording of that chant and kind of tone it down a little bit because everyone knows what it means. It's a lot less loaded, and it would be better politics for the Democrats. That, like, when you ask a Nancy Pelosi or a Durbin, like, hey, what's up with this river to the sea thing? Not that they get asked that much. You know, they don't really have a good answer for it. But so here's I'm looking at some of the donations. So here's the thing: Jewish Democrats vote 70%. It's a 4.5 million. So this is what I'm saying: you have 70%. I'm just looking at the numbers. That's why I'm getting a little confused here. The Jewish people don't have a huge vote in this country because they don't have a huge population, and 70% vote Democratic. But what I think is going to happen, this opportunity of what's going on in the Democratic Party is going to pay off for Republicans and for Trump again. Trump got a lot of Jewish votes in 2024. He's going to get more. And the other big thing that Donald Trump and the right and the Republicans and MAGA are going to get is Jewish donors are big donors. Jewish people are very successful. Some of that money is going to move away from Democrats. The DSA is going to, if you're a traditional Democrat, the DSA is going to hurt you because Jewish Democrats are going to say enough is enough. And I think you saw it in 2024. You did see it based on the votes. And I think the donations. And here's another thing. Jewish talent in politics, speechwriters, strategists, pollsters, consultants, very, very talented people. Some of those people are also going to move to the right. That is going to happen. So the more the DSA stays in the Democratic Party and they start driving some Jewish voters away with money and talent, that's going to the Republican Party. So there's definitely an upside to that. And I think every time people see what just happened in New York City and they see that the DSA with this kind of outright anti-Israel rhetoric, when they see it, they start saying, you know what? It might be a time for a change. And that's definitely that's not going to help the traditional Democrats. So what they really are doing, they're eating the Democrats alive because people are going to, like, after a while, people just say, listen, this ain't working out for me, especially, you know, a working class Democrat that, you know, kind of just doesn't pay attention that much. But after a while, they start seeing this. They're going to start walking away. And where they're going to walk away, they're going to walk into MAGA. They're not walking into the old Republican Party like John Kasich. They're going to walk into MAGA. So that's good. We'll take a break. We'll be back for the last hour, 6 to 7. We'll be right back.
This year, America celebrates 250 years. 2.5 centuries of courage, sacrifice, and family stories passed down from one generation to the next. Hi, I'm Nick Mako.
And I'm Adam Baselogger, founders of Legacy Box. Your family's piece of the American story is sitting in an attic or closet right now, trapped on aging VHS tapes, camcorder tapes, film reels, and fading photos.
Those boxes hold moments you can never recreate. Your wedding day, your children's voices when they were little, grandparents coming back to life on screen.
Over 2 million families have trusted Legacy Box. And we've just partnered with the USO to digitize fragile handwritten letters from World War II, helping preserve American history for future generations.
As America turns 250, remember that your family is a part of the American story. Preserving those voices, faces, and moments is a part of your responsibility to the next generation. Don't let them disappear on your watch.
Visit legacybox.com/radio for our amazing America 250 sale. That's legacybox.com/radio to save.
If clutter is costing you time, fix it right away. Closet Factory designs and installs custom storage for closets, pantries, and home offices. Schedule a free design consultation at closetfactory.com. Closetfactory.com.
Hey, this is Larry Steinitz with Investor Schooling. How many times are you going to listen to my voice before you finally go to investorschooling.com? I can't believe you haven't signed up for a class yet. You're going to learn real estate investing. You're going to learn stock options trading. You're going to learn things about money that you didn't even know existed. Go to investorschooling.com right now. Oh my goodness. This Thursday, investorschooling.com, and take that free class. See you there.
It was just
one unforgettable night.
One of those things.
An evening with Harry Connick Jr.
Just one of those crazy flings.
Performing songs from across his remarkable career.
Welcome by me,
Harry Connick Jr.
Come talk to me, baby.
Friday, July 24th. Borgata Hotel, Casino, and Spa. Tickets are on sale now at theborgata.com.
You got to go see the Mardi Gras.
Recovery from mental and substance use disorders is real. It happens every day. You can recover. Discover hope and help.
Never give up on yourself.
Join the Voices for Recovery. For confidential information for mental and substance use disorders, call 1-800-662-HELP. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans.
When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer.
When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org. Brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
From ABC News, I'm Chuck Severson. A federal appeals court rules that the Trump administration can get an immediate replacement of the slavery exhibit in Philadelphia.
The panel of the Third Circuit, which is based in Philadelphia, says the new panels that would go up are full of historical context and acknowledge the evil of slavery. That panel, allowing the Park Service to move forward with its plans, includes appointees of George W. Bush, Barack Obama, and Donald Trump. The city of Philadelphia has today filed another appeal urging the court to reconsider its decision.
ABC's Stephen Portnoy. Police in Dearborn, Michigan say 2 people are dead, another one hurt in a shooting at a shopping mall, Fairlane Town Center.
It appears this was not a random act of violence. This was between 2 parties that knew each other here at the mall, and a fight began that escalated in gunfire. It appears that both parties had firearms.
Dearborn Police Chief Isa Shahin. A man's charged in the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool mess. U.S. Attorney Janine Pirro was asked by a reporter.
It appears this was not a...
Did he have any tools, or was it just his bare hands?
Right now, we believe it's his bare hands, both hands.
So does that indicate in your belief that it was probably damaged before, or do you believe that he...
Oh, he damaged it.
Further, but do you believe it had already been damaged before?
He damaged the pool.
Attorneys for David Hearn says that he's innocent and a scapegoat for the administration's failures. Defining patriotism as something more than just loving your country and not pretending that America is not without flaws, New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani marking America's 250th birthday. Mamdani talking about the term American exceptionalism.
America is exceptional because here, nothing is fixed into place. The frontier may be closed. We may have walked on the moon. But the work of fulfilling the values first enshrined in the Declaration of Independence, that work endures. And it belongs to us all.
He says that those who try to divide Americans are using the oldest trick in politics. You're listening to ABC News.
Hot summer days and high energy bills are on the way. Upgrade your home's old leaky windows this month with Window Nation at 50% off all window styles. Yes, 50% off new, beautiful, energy-efficient windows, plus 0 down, 0 interest, and no payments for 2 years. Call now, 866-200-8670 or windownation.com. In select markets, trust our family of brands, New South Window and ArmorView. That's 866-200-8670 or windownation.com to book a consultation.
Ever wonder why you have insurance for your car or home, but not your digital life? Meet WebRoot Total Protection, your digital bodyguard that includes antivirus, identity protection, VPN, cloud backup, and more. With plans for individuals and families, WebRoot takes the guessing game out of cybersecurity so you can get back to living your best life online. Go to webroot.com/protect and get 60% off today. That's webroot.com/protect to get 60% off today. Live a better digital life with WebRoot because peace of mind shouldn't be optional.
Despite severe fuel shortages across Russia, President Vladimir Putin appears unbothered by Ukraine's increasing attacks on his country's oil refineries. He says the shortages are not critical and dismisses ceasefire proposals, saying the war will continue until his goals are met. Conservative politician Keiko Fujimori declared winner of the presidential runoff in Peru, dominated by people's concerns over surging crime, especially extortion by violent organized crime gangs. And Fujimori pledged to combat crime with an iron fist. In Venezuela, crews from around the world are racing against the clock to find survivors of last week's back-to-back earthquakes. International Red Cross Emergency Response Director Rafael Velasquez Garcia.
I was visiting a site and a golf course that has become a temporary displacement center. And what we're saying is that many people refuse to leave because they're afraid of looting and they're afraid of leaving their belongings behind.
Officials in Venezuela say about 40,000 people are missing. Pope Leo has been awarded the National Constitution Center's Liberty Medal, accepting the award virtually from the Vatican and mentioning America's 250th.
This historic anniversary presents us with the opportunity to reflect once again on the nation's founding principles in the hope that America will remain ever true to the dream that has earned it the title of Land of the Free and Home of the Brave.
Chuck Sievertson, ABC News.
Hot summer days and high energy bills are on the way. Upgrade your home's old leaky windows this month with Window Nation at 50% off all window styles. Yes, 50% off new, beautiful, energy-efficient windows, plus 0 down, 0 interest, and no payments for 2 years. Call now, 866-200-8670 or windownation.com. In select markets, trust our family of brands, New South Window and ArmorView. That's 866-200-8670 or windownation.com to book a consultation.
You are not your diagnosis.
A medical chart is not your identity.
And vision loss does not define you.
Your drive shows who you are.
And you are not alone.
Because we are driven too.
To be a beacon of strength.
A champion of courage.
An advocate for hope.
You are not alone.
Because we are stronger together.
We drive the research for the cures we are finding.
We're fighting macular degeneration,
retinitis pigmentosa,
Usher syndrome,
and the entire spectrum of blinding retinal diseases.
We fund.
We fight.
We win.
We
are the foundation fighting blindness.
Together, we are fighting blindness.
Join the fight at fightingblindness.org.
WPHT HD WOGL HD3 Philadelphia from the Piazza Premium Automobile Studios.
Powering your drive with 10 brands and 20 locations.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. The revolution will be broadcast. This is the next generation of talk. Now on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Well, 10 WPHT here in Philadelphia. Oh, I was trying to get in before they give you the big cheer. Oh, all right. All right, I'll give you and Matt, let you get your cheer in there. I was just trying to.
No, Matt doesn't get his cheer in today.
All right, well, I tried to cut you both out. Anyway, last hour, we're going to play a lot of clips. Justin and I are going to go back and forth on them. We're going to discuss some of these audio clips we have. But before we do, I want to ask, I like making a book or movie recommendation or a television series recommendation. Are you a movie guy, Justin?
Yeah, yeah, I am. I went to school for radio, television, and film production.
Oh, there you go. You're a film.
A lot of film classes.
Listen, I know you got it. You definitely you got that creativity side too. You're a producer, engineer, and you also got the creative side. The Godfathers. Did you watch the
yeah.
first two Godfathers?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to make a recommendation. On Paramount, there's a series. It's about 9, and maybe you've seen it already. In 9 episodes, it's called The Offer. Have you seen it?
Heard about it.
Let me tell you.
Been waiting to check it out.
So if you have Amazon Prime Video or whatever, you can get Paramount. You know that? A lot of people don't.
No, I did not know. I did not know.
Yeah, so if you have Prime Video, I don't know if you have to have I don't. My wife deals with all that, but let me tell you, The Offer, and I'll tell the audience what it's about. It's a biopic in a way. I'm sure there's a lot of creative liberty, but it's about making the movie The Godfather, how it got made.
Okay.
And it's so you fall in love with the characters. Francis Ford Coppola, the guy who wrote The Godfather was the what's his name? I'm forgetting his name. You'll come up. Puzo.
Yeah.
Mario Puzo. So back in the day in Hollywood, if you wrote a great book and they wanted to make a movie, they'd never let the author write the script, right? So now you have the director, Francis Ford Coppola, and you got Mario Puzo, who wrote the book. Those two work together, the two Italian guys, and they love food and wine. They write the script together. It's a fascinating story, and the guys who play their characters are like that. My point is that you forget that you're watching something about The Godfather, but
and it's like a one-off, like a one-season, like miniseries type thing,
and it's so good and interesting. And I won't give it all away, but I watch different series. I don't watch a ton of these, but when I do, and one grabs me, this one grabbed me. The guy Ruddy, who was the producer, he produced Hogan's Heroes, right? He used to work at the Rand Corporation as a programmer. Went to a party, worked his way into Hollywood, pitched Hogan's Heroes, and got a television show. And then his next big thing, he did one little off movie. Then they gave him The Godfather. Paramount Studios gave him The Godfather. So it's weird. So you watch it on Paramount, and the story's all about Paramount Studios back in the day. But if you like The Godfather, if you were a fan of The Godfather, it's about the New York mob. Frank Sinatra gets involved in the movie. There are so many layers to this movie. Not movie. It's a series. Yeah. It's not a movie. But there's so many layers to it. You're a Godfather guy. You're going to like it. Anyone who watched The Godfather and thinks they're one of the greatest movies, you got to watch The Offer on Paramount. It's 9 one-hour shows, and you'll be upset when it's over. That's when you know you watched a good series. Like you're like, damn, I like that so much. I can't believe it's over now. Okay, so that's my recommendation. I'll be checking back with you in 2 weeks to make sure you watched it, or that was just a waste of time. Okay, our next thing. Let's hear what Senator Cory Booker had to say recently about Congress.
When I came to the Senate, as you and I were talking about, Lieutenant Governor, this is only a little over a decade ago. I was the only African American in the Senate. And I just looked around, and I was stunned that it was the least diverse place I had ever worked. You had entire committees that had all white senators and all white staffers on those committees. I asked questions. We had a black president at the time. I said, well, let me just start asking questions. What percentage of our pension funds are being managed by emerging leaders, women-run companies, black-run companies? Zero, not $1 in pension funds that are being fed. The more questions I was asking, the more frustrated and frankly angry I was that we were a party in power, but we were not connecting it to expanding opportunity in the ways that we should have and could have. And immediately I went to work, from asking Chuck Schumer to force every Democratic senator to publish their diversity statistics of their staffs.
All right, I think I've heard enough. Do you want to comment first, or do you want me to comment?
It's just Cory Booker being Cory Booker. You know, the diversity, we need more diversity. When I was here, there was nothing. Just constant platitudes and saying things that that he thinks his constituents want to hear.
Yeah.
Just to get because there isn't. I'm almost certain there's nobody on this planet that loves hearing themselves talk more than Cory Booker.
No doubt about it. But this is what I found interesting. A couple of the words that he said. And I grew up right near Cory Booker, okay? He grew up in Harrington Park. He went to Northern Valley Regional High School. They were the two least diverse places in the world. Okay. He was, my guess, he might have been one of two black football players on the team. Like, I'm talking, this was upper class New Jersey. His parents both worked at IBM. Then he went to Stanford, and Stanford was probably more diverse than the high school he went to. But Stanford's wasn't that diverse when he went, which is back and around the same time I was there. I think he's a little younger than me. But he played football at Stanford. But another thing at Stanford, he was a great high school football player. But when he got to Stanford by his sophomore or junior year, the coach said, listen, you're not going to cut it. So if you quit, or not quit, if you decide not to play, I'm not going to take your scholarship away. But, hey, listen, that happens to a lot of people. It could be like you just have two great All-Americans in front of you or whatever. I don't know why I'm talking about his football career. But
say it's like Dwayne Johnson on the Miami Hurricanes team. He had like Warren Sapp was in front of him.
Yeah, that happens a lot. Like sometimes it's the luck of the draw. When you show up into NFL, you could be a great college football player, All-American, but you show up on a team and they bring in two other guys who just in camp, they just light it up. And then, you know what? Then you're out in free agency and it doesn't work out for you if you're a lower draft choice. But anyway, his diversity thing, he didn't grow up in Newark. That's what he tries to put out there. He got on the council in Newark and he went to live in a bad neighborhood to kind of build his path to politics. But he grew up in North Jersey. I know right where he was from. I actually met him once.
Really?
Yeah. When he was once his political career started or whatever. But so I think we kind of that was just a DEI speech, and he's not authentic. Like he tries to, in a way, he comes off as like this great orator. Like he tries to be Obama in a way. But like he doesn't have the Ben Carson or or Clarence Thomas or the guy running down for governor in Byron
Donald.
Yeah, Byron. These guys are authentic black men from rough neighborhoods, authentic black guys who are connected to like really what the black experience was. He's not.
And
there was very
not,
little diversity.
Yeah, they're not robots. They don't need
speed.
They don't need speechwriter after speechwriter after speechwriter or a teleprompter in front of them to be a great orator. They know how to speak from the heart, speak with conviction, and actually properly relate what they're trying to relate in their when they talk.
Yeah, this guy just rambles on with the 10 talking points that the DNC wants you to say, and the way he does it is so dramatic, the Spartacus. But let's move on to Tucker and Ben Shapiro.
So here's the thing: I hope Tucker launches a third party. Why? Because it'll get crushed. Third parties get crushed. I would love to see a clean referendum on Tucker's perverse views, but he's not going to do that. That's not actually the game. Here's the game. Tucker knows, Tucker sees that Republicans are probably going to have a bad 26. What he wants is to say that the reason that Republicans had a bad 26 is because they alienated key people like him. And thus, if you wish to win in 28, you need to shift the entire policy making direction of the party back in Tucker Carlson's direction. Tucker is not launching the Reform Party. Tucker is launching the DSA or the TSA. The Tucker Socialists of America. His goal is for Republicans to lose in 2026. He wants, he's not hiding the ball here. He has said he's not voting Republican. He wants Republicans to lose. He is here to demoralize conservatives prior to 2026. That is the goal. Okay. The worse Republicans do, the more.
All right. So, I mean, these are two social media gurus going at each other. So I don't take either one's opinion 100%. But and I know more, like I listen more to Tucker than I have to Ben Shapiro, though Ben Shapiro, when he does those question and answers, he's pretty good. No one was as good as Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk, Ben Shapiro can't handle, just based on personality and the way Charlie used to do it. But Tucker, well, I'm going to ask you, what do you think happened to Tucker?
It genuinely astounds me. He might have had, I think he maybe would have been promised something in the current administration, and they reneged on it because it just seemed like a 180. Or he got, he's very cozy with the Saudi, with like Iranian deals, and it seems like he's been given talking points about certain things, because this 180 is just it came out of nowhere, really.
Yeah,
and it's just I'm not sure whether it's somebody telling him to say something or if it's I don't think it's really what he believes.
Yeah, the transformation I see with him, it's kind of like he's a religious zealot. Like he is, and he has gotten very religious. He told a story, which I was surprised watching it, that a demon or something attacked him in his bed. Did you hear that story?
I did not.
Yeah, it's very, and some Catholics, and he's not Catholic. I think he's Episcopalian, which is Catholic light. He described a weird story. I heard him say it, and other people have commented on it. But like he's gotten very religious, and he's and there's some religious people that just aren't into politics, but like his personality, he was always like a panicking guy, like when Soleimani got executed by Trump with the drone overnight. Oh, it's going to be World War III. He's always had that kind of reaction. But the way he's really kind of like, I'm not voting, and Trump not only did, like, Trump has ruined everything, and it's kind of like I shouldn't have voted for him. Like
it's almost like he's trying to replace the Lincoln Project as like the key voice of the
never Trumper.
Never Trumper. It's like he's trying to be the Trump 2.0 version of what the Lincoln Project was in version 1.
Yeah, but this is what someone said, and someone said, he's always had it in him, but when he was at Fox News. But now he has his own network. You call all your own shots. You know, when you work within a certain corporation, like you do here, there's certain, you have limitations of not it's free speech and everything like that. But you work for an organization and you have producers, and someone said they used to tone him down. That's the rumor. I don't know.
I could 100%, based on what I've seen the last 6 months.
Yeah.
Those producers must have been working overtime.
So that's an interesting thing, that he's always had this hyperventilating kind of, and now he's gotten a little more religious. I know we're playing psychologist here, but it is an interesting change. And his attacks back at MAGA are pretty extreme. And he's not the only one. He's got a big following. There's a big, loud anti-Trump following, which is an anti-Israel following. It's it's a pro-Epstein thing. But maybe he's always been like this. And now when you have your own platform and you're as wealthy as he is, maybe he's just telling everybody, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to say whatever I want, and I'm going to be as emotional as I want. Now, I'd be going nuts here if it wasn't for you and Matt. And he doesn't have that anymore. I'm joking. But do we need to take a break, or can I do another one?
We can go another one.
All right, let's do another one. Let's do Welcome to Communism. Mamdani. Let's hear this clip.
I love this
Okay, bring it on.
And to every business owner, please set your thermostats to 78 degrees to alleviate the stress on our power grid. Every worker in New York City has the right to a safe workplace, and that includes safety in extreme heat. For New Yorkers looking...
It's just and I noticed Mikey Sherrill's done this too. Not as like public. I think she put out a statement where she said she recommends having your thermostat set to 78 degrees, and it's just to save the stress of the power grid. And it's like, why? If this goes back, because I'm a big proponent of nuclear energy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And as we've moved further away from nuclear energy, we're relying on green energy, which obviously can't handle the stresses that we, as we've gone on in time, put on it. And, we fall back to our old ways. And even then, that system, if we had nuclear energy, if we had like our normal nuclear power stations, we would have no problem dealing with heat waves like this that we have now. Where now it's like, 100, and it's still 100 degrees outside right now. I'm looking at our lower third. It's 6:22 p.m. and it's 100 degrees, and I've got the jackass mayor of New York City trying to tell me to keep my house at almost 80 degrees. No.
Yeah, and what you're saying, it is so against the American way. The American way is build another facility, or do whatever you can to give Americans what they need and make money doing it. This is because this is what happens with socialism and leftists. It then becomes resources become scarce because they have all these rules. And they keep believe me, his isn't at 78 degrees.
No, Gracie Mansion is
cool.
65 degrees.
Yeah.
It's going.
Yeah. So the problem here is people really think about this. This is Mikey Sherrill and the mayor of New York telling you should sweat in bed tonight, where they should be telling you, we are never going to have this happen again. We are going to build a grid here that you have never seen. That's how Donald Trump talks.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, that's why we're going to keep winning. I know everyone's, we're in the midterm, whatever. But if you want to keep winning, it's got to be a positive message. It's not turn down and have less. That's not America. America is, how do we get more? Do we get rich doing it? And does it make everyone happy? Yes. 72 degrees is a lot happier sleeping than 78, or for that matter, if you're my daughter, you turn it to 69. And I got a thing in Florida where you can control each room's temperature. We go in there, you could find 100 penguins living in there. It's so damn cold.
I relate completely.
Yeah.
I need, and there's scientific evidence that backs up the fact that the ideal sleeping temperature for a human body is around 65 to 67 degrees.
Yeah, I'm one of those people in the dead of winter. I'll have a sheet on me, and I don't wear a shirt to bed. I'm always warm. So 78 degrees, that ain't working for me.
No, I'm just gonna be sweating
like a dog. With that, we'll do a break. We'll come back. We got more of these.
All right, we're enjoying our summer vacation, 4th of July, America's 250th, whatever it is. It's also time to think about your home. Hey, it's Rich Zioli, and even though I'm not with you this week, I know that if you're looking for a contractor who can help, you got to think about my friends at Emmons. EmmonsRoofing.com. Emmons delivers protection, peace of mind, and true craftsmanship. That's why Emmons is my go-to contractor for roofing, siding, and windows. And they even have a new bathroom division, and they remodeled the kids' bathroom, and it looks just absolutely amazing. Emmons doesn't just make your home look great, it makes it stunning from the curb. Energy efficient, secure, and ready to withstand the elements. You're going to get top quality, American-made products. It's going to increase your home's value and make your home more beautiful. From lifetime warranted Owens Corning roofs built to handle severe weather, to siding that insulates, to windows that blend style and performance, Emmons has you covered. Go to EmmonsRoofing.com. My great friends at EmmonsRoofing.com.
The thought of my sons growing up without me inspired me to quit smoking.
I talked to my doctors, and then I threw away all my cigarettes, ashtrays, and lighters.
I started exercising instead of smoking.
Getting support from friends online kept me on track.
Staying away from alcohol when I was first quitting was key.
Instead of smoking after I ate, I'd get up and take a walk.
I missed having a cigarette in my hand, so I'd hold a pen or a straw, anything.
Until I knew I wouldn't give in to temptation, I spent more time with my friends who didn't smoke.
I went to places that were smoke-free.
I didn't stay quit the very first time I tried.
I kept on trying, and I learned something each time.
Do whatever it takes.
No matter how many times it takes.
I quit.
I quit.
I quit.
We did it, so can you.
You can quit. For free help, call 1-800-QUIT-NOW. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and CDC.
Summer is the wrong time to let small home repair issues turn into big problems. From drafty windows to leaking roofs or overflowing gutters, PJ Fitzpatrick brings their mobile workshop straight to your door, getting your repairs done right the first time. So your home works for you, not against you, all season long. Every repair is backed by 45 years of experience. Let the experts handle it and schedule your home repairs at trustpj.com.
Kale & Company, weekday mornings 6 till 10.
Some of these problems are easily correctable. We could see significant improvement. Nothing is ever absolute. Nothing could ever be 100% yada yada. But man, we could have so many different better things if we just had that same mentality of, oh, we're having guests, companies coming over. Let's get it together and make it look like we have our house in order. When we know Philadelphia as a city does not have their house in order.
Start your day with Kale and Company. Weekday mornings 6 till 10 on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
NHL star Matt Martin for American Humane.
Hi, I'm Matt Martin, and in all my years of playing professional hockey, I've gotten my share of bruises and injuries. But for many who really put their lives on the line every day, it's not always the injuries you can see that hurt the most. I'm talking about our veterans. Every single day, 184 veterans are diagnosed with post-traumatic stress, and tragically, 20 take their own lives. When medications and therapy don't help, professionally trained service dogs can. American Humane, serving the U.S. military for over 100 years, has put together a free guide to help veterans obtain these life-saving service animals. If you are a veteran or know a veteran struggling with PTS, please go to AmericanHumane.org for this free, downloadable resource. Let's give our veterans the help they need to win their battle.
For more information, visit AmericanHumane.org.
Broadcasting live from the Piazza Auto Group studios. Experience the power of one with 8 brands and 25 locations. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
Welcome back to 1210 WPHT, the afternoon show with Tom Azelby. I will be back here tomorrow morning, 8 to 9, my 4th of July show. I'm going to be doing something a little. We're going to talk about the 4th of July, and I'm going to bring on an historian, Sean McGee. He's got a PhD, and he knows 1776. That's why I'm going to bring on. But we're going to talk about interesting, funny things you might not know. Maybe not. Some might be funny. Some might just be interesting. And then I'm going to talk about some Americans that you do know. You don't know them personally, but you know of them because of their celebrity. And after 250 years, you'll be shocked what these guys did for their country at different stages of their life, even with all their celebrity. So I'm going to share that with you tomorrow. So it's going to be a 4th of July focused show. And then on Sunday, I'm actually back in here, as I told you. Sunday, Barry's bringing me in as his guest on the Barry Sable Show every Sunday at 10.
The Tom Azelby triple threat.
Yeah, coming in for a hat trick. And don't forget, July 4th, Rich Zeoli will be on America's Newsroom. And that's going to be tomorrow morning from Liberty State Park. So you can catch Rich then, and you can catch Rich all next week. He's back at 6 to 7 with the podcast, so you'll hear him next week too. With that said, I'm here with my producer, Justin Otero, who is also my contributor and co-host as we work our way through the show tonight. And Hillary Clinton has something to say, so let's hear it.
When doesn't Hillary Clinton have
That's
something
true.
to say?
Yeah, she's someone that doesn't go away.
You recently, I think, called for the abolition of the Electoral College, which would be a really good start.
Actually, I called for it in 2000.
Oh, did you? Okay.
I did. You know, when I won my Senate race and Al Gore won the popular vote and lost the Electoral College, that's the first time I said, this needs to go, because this is not reflective of one person, one vote. And we shouldn't be hanging on to an anachronism that was designed for slave-owning states. Let's re-envision it for the 21st century, as you said. Take a look at popular vote. I mean, the popular vote movement is going state by state, and, they're getting closer to a, 270 electoral number that might, feel possible. But let's figure out what legislation in Congress could protect that, so that it's a structure that would be blessed by federal legislation, so that when we reach perhaps the number of states we need, so that the states electors vote for the winner of the.
My eardrums are about to explode. Okay, so Hillary,
She can say she's been campaigning for since 2000, but she's never going to get over 2016.
No, never. And listen, the Electoral College, if you want New York, Illinois, and California ruling everybody and concentration in blue cities, but it's not going to happen. And the bottom line is Trump won the Electoral College and he won the popular vote and he swept every swing state.
It's just I love that it's not the Electoral College isn't representative of one person, one vote. The popular vote isn't, because if we think about it, all candidates are going to do are just going to campaign in the wealthy coastal liberal elite cities, you're just totally ignoring 46 out of 50 states.
Yeah, that's how it would work, and that's why the founding fathers are a lot smarter than Hillary Clinton. And the Electoral College does make sense. It's not well. You never know. They're talking. It could go away if they start sweeping us. But for now, she's dreaming.
But even then, it's the United States is a union of states.
It's a republic.
We're a republic. We're a union of states. We are not a single national electorate. The Electoral College is giving states, not the individuals, a role in choosing them. Like, yes, the individuals elect the state delegates, which elect the president. Yeah. But if we are a union of states, not a single national electorate.
Absolutely. And, they love saying democracy, and everyone knows we're a republic, and that is a big difference because a democracy, that's where majorities terrorize the minority. And that's why we have, like you said, 50 states, and those states are smaller states that produce the food or produce the energy. They're protected from being terrorized by the majority. And that's why we're not a true democracy, as they say. Nor would I want to be. I think these guys, they know more than Hillary. But, the bigger thing is, I don't know why she doesn't go away. But
she's still just, like I said, she's still just pissy because she thought she had it in the bag. She didn't have to go to the Rust Belt. She thought she didn't have to go to the Rust Belt to campaign. Yeah. And that's why she lost. So now it's the going on year 10 of the, woe is me, I really should have won tour.
And I might be wrong on this. She is not as wacky left as a lot of people in the Democratic Party, but she is wacky, mean, crazy. Like she's like an assassin, the way she wants what she wants. That's what scares me about her, is that she is like an assassin. Like she will do what she wants. But at the same time, I say, man, I hear some Democratic politicians say stuff that's really out of the norm, like way out of the norm. Her saying get rid of the Electoral College isn't that much, but let's hear from a Democrat, and we're going to go to Senator John Fetterman. Let's see what he has to say. And man, this guy's got an uphill battle, I think, with winning in Pennsylvania based on what he's been doing and what he's been supporting. So let's hear what he has to say.
Now, for me, what my real concern is, the Democratic Party is going to put it into the platform, is an anti-Israel party, that Israel does not have the right to defend itself and to exist. And the second that becomes a formal part of our platform, and that's the one thing that would push me out of this party, because, I'm deeply alarmed the way the Democratic Party is going after Israel and allowing to just rank anti-Semitism.
So he was making the point better than I was before that Fetterman is Jewish, right?
Yeah.
Is both his parents Jewish or just one of them? I don't know. It's irrelevant, but in the sense, I do know he has some Jewish heritage. But that was the point I was trying to make earlier. There is going to be some migration out of the Democratic Party with people who might not even be Jewish, but they support Israel. I'm not going to say it's going to be gangbusters. They're all going to run over to our side. But listen, this type of stuff is definitely going to have people thinking differently. Here you have a senator, a Democratic senator, who's saying that's his red line. that's when he would leave the Democratic Party. It'll be interesting. I don't know.
His family are Pennsylvania Dutch.
Oh, but he's not Jewish
He's
at
not
all?
Jewish.
I thought someone said he had Jewish heritage. I could be wrong.
It might be. It might be. I know his two parents at least are
Right.
Pennsylvania Dutch.
So, well, anyway, that kind of kills what I just was thinking. But anyway, we'll keep moving right along. But here's so that kill that argument, everybody. We'll walk that back. But he is a senator. I don't know how it works in the could people cross in Pennsylvania? How would Republicans be able to support him? Do they have to re-register, so he doesn't lose in a primary? You remember Rush Limbaugh did that to protect the seat or take a seat? You have everybody change their registration. Could he get some extra help from Republicans in the state of Pennsylvania when he has to rerun?
So Pennsylvania is technically an open primary state, but
Okay.
only for certain voters. If you're a registered Democrat or a Republican, you can only vote in that primary.
Right.
But if you're unaffiliated, you can choose which party primary to vote on election day, on primary day. So you would have to have Republicans change their affiliation to unaffiliated, and then on the Democratic primary day, say, I want to vote in the Democratic primary for Fetterman.
Okay, so there is a move for people of the right to help Fetterman.
Yeah, it is possible.
It is possible. And I say this to everybody. Pennsylvania is a critical state for the future of the Republican Party and MAGA. There's no doubt about that. So let's go to Trump now. Let's see what he has to say. The denuclearization of Iran is moving along well. All right, we'll have plenty to talk about this because he's always saying something about Iran.
As far as things are going, the denuclearization of Iran is moving along well. They've had very good meetings, and we'll see. We hit them very hard for 3 nights, as you know, but we're getting along very well. So I call it the denuclearization, and it's all taking place. It's all going well. The stock market is setting records virtually every day. The oil price is way down. We're down at 68. I see it hit 68 today. That's lower than when I started the, I guess you could call it an attack on Iran so that they never have a nuclear weapon.
You know what? That wasn't too bad. First of all, he gave good economic news, telling people that oil is at 68 a barrel and some of the positive things in the economy. But with Iran, you can sense that people are frustrated that there's been so many, it's going to go well, we're going to get the deal, then nothing happens, and he turns around and says, I might have to bomb him again. But listen, that's how he looks at things. He looks at it like an entrepreneur, like day to day with this optimism, and then when there's no optimism, he's the first guy to say, okay, I'm gonna start bombing him again. So once again, at least he's telling you what he feels at the moment. Might not be the best politics, but that's Trump, and I kind of appreciate that. What do you think, Justin?
I saw this very funny because he had mentioned bombing.
Yeah.
Did you see the statistic that for the first time in history, Iran, a team participating in the World Cup was bombed by the host nation in the middle of the tournament?
No.
I think but going back to the clip, the news out of Iran has been kind of just everything's slow moving. So, I mean, I can only take what the president says. I can only take because he has no reason to lie to me.
Right.
So I can only take what he says at face value. And if he says, things are, the denuclearization is going well, I can only believe him until I'm proven otherwise.
Yeah. And he'll be the first one to tell you when it's not, because he'll start saying, I'm going to blow them up again.
Yeah.
I'm going to drop bombs on them.
I just got to wait for the Truth Social tweet of, hell's coming.
Yeah. So, you know what? It's... I like living in this world, and it just shows how far removed he is from the old politician's way of doing things. Because he's a guy that built a career way outside of politics, and he's an entrepreneur. I always say this. He thinks out loud, and that is a trait of a lot of entrepreneurs. You just think out loud because you watch people's reactions, you're thinking, and you're saying, what if that? Yeah, I get it. I totally get the guy. I like it. I mean, if I was coaching him, which he doesn't need my advice, obviously, but like anyone, I'd say, hey, you know what? Don't say good or bad. Just be neutral on this for a little bit. But that's not him, and we're not going to get that. So let's go. You know what? Let's skip down. Let's go to number 11, CNN's Harry Enton. I get a kick out of this pollster on CNN. And the reason I do is because when the poll shows Democrats are not doing well on CNN, and I don't think he does it, he just seems to get very excited about it. And you're like, wait, what show am I watching? CNN? And it's not like he's rooting for Republicans, obviously. But whenever he starts giving bad news to Democrats, he seems excited about it. But I don't think his heart's there. I just think it's his demeanor. So let's hear what Harry, the pollster from CNN, has to say.
You know, among Republicans, 93% are extremely or very proud. Just a single one, say they have little to no pride in being an American. But look over at the Democratic side. This is where we've seen this extremely or very number. It's been taking a tumble at 27%, which is way different than the 93. You do the quick math with me here. What is that? That's a 66-point difference here in terms of extremely or very. But look at this. The little or no proud to be an American actually among Democrats eclipses is greater than the extremely or very proud number. So we are just living in such a different universe if you're a Republican versus a Democrat on the basic fundamental question of being proud to be an American.
Okay, so I'll comment on this one, Justin, which what I said before. If you listen to his cadence and his volume and tempo, it's like when he's delivering the bad news about how unpatriotic Democrats are, his voice goes up. like he's enjoying like torturing them. Like, because people don't want to see those numbers. Like, he's on CNN, and the average CNN viewer is kind of like, wow, that doesn't look good for us. Even though I agree with the poll, I'm not patriotic either. You know how we can tell how they think. I guess we can. But he seems to enjoy, like he's a masochist, like telling him and he's probably a guy of the left. But I find that entertaining. What's your take?
Before I get to my take, I will say I do enjoy Harry Enton, but I think he tries a little too hard to be like Steve Kornacki. And it's like, you know, he's got the exaggerated arm movements, the big bolster's voice, the pointing, and look at the numbers. Look, I think he tries a little too. But going back to the poll, I mean, are we really surprised after we've seen, especially with the rise of farther left candidates constantly pushing their anti-American agenda? I mean, there's a clip, which I think I'll grab when we go to break, of Mamdani giving a speech today about the 250th celebration tomorrow, and he's essentially just nothing but negative about it. And when you have figureheads like that who seem to be, you know, your heir apparent to the party, what else does that say for the rest of you? I'm not surprised that their number of being proud to be an American is that low.
Right.
I'm surprised it's not lower.
Yeah. But, you know, it's I'm glad this with Harry putting it out there. Listen, that helps to depress their vote, I think, because people are like, you shouldn't be like that. But let's go to break. I'm assuming we need a break, and then we can come back and do a few more clips before we wrap it up on this July 4th holiday.
Heart disease and stroke can be catastrophic. They're leading causes of death, disability, and healthcare spending in the U.S., yet they're largely preventable. Alarmingly, heart disease and stroke are taking a toll on middle-aged adults 35 to 64, with over 800,000 deaths and hospitalizations in 2016. Million Hearts is a national initiative focused on preventing 1 million heart attacks, strokes, and other cardiovascular events by 2022. Coordinated actions by Million Hearts partners in communities, healthcare, and public health will keep people healthy, optimize care, and improve outcomes in populations at risk. Everyone has a part to play. Focus on the ABCs of heart health. A. Aspirin use when appropriate. B. blood pressure control, C, cholesterol management, and S, smoking cessation. To learn more, visit cdc.gov/vital signs.
Bucks County Estate Traders is celebrating 250 years of American craftsmanship and quality. Enjoy the rich history behind many of their over 16,000 pieces of furniture and decor. Complete any room, indoor and outdoor, all with the kind of craftsmanship you just don't find anymore. Right now, everything is 20 to 50% off their 4th of July sale. But hurry, it ends July 7th. Visit their Hatfield showroom or shop online at buckscountyestatetraders.com.
You don't need another opinion, just the facts.
What caused that crash on the Schuylkill? Will it rain before the kids' game? What happened at the school board meeting last night?
At KYW News Radio, we don't take sides. We take notes, delivering the information you need to make the best decisions for your family.
The news you need whenever you need it.
Depend on KYW News Radio, Philadelphia's most trusted news leader for more than 60 years.
A plane has crashed into one of the towers of the World Trade Center.
The events of September 11th changed our nation forever. As we approach the 25th anniversary, Talk Radio 1210 WPHT is looking to hear directly from those who experienced that day firsthand. Were you a first responder who answered the call on September 11th? Were you in New York City, Washington, or near Shanksville? Share your story as part of our special 25th anniversary broadcast, 9/11 Through the Eyes of, a collection of personal memories, reflections, and experiences from those whose lives were forever changed. If you have a first-hand account and would like to be considered for an interview, visit 1210WPHT.com. Let's remember, honor, and preserve them for future generations. Go to 1210WPHT.com.
To battle is to fight, to struggle, to overcome, and ultimately for the Marine Corps, it means to win. There is no alternative. It's not just a statement of intent. It's a promise to our nation. A promise kept for more than 2 centuries. A promise of the Marines.
You can now tune in to Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the iHeartRadio app.
Welcome back to 1210 WPHT. This is Tom Azelby on the afternoon show. I'm here with my producer, my contributor, my co-host, Justin Otero. We're ripping through these clips. Did you find the one that you wanted to find?
I did find the Mondami
All right,
clip.
let's hear Mondami, the mayor. I almost said the president. The mayor of New York City. God
thankfully,
forbid.
can't happen.
He could be the president of New York City. Good luck with that.
As we mark 250 years, what do we see? We see a city of contradictions within a nation of contradictions. We see the wealthiest country in the history of the world, one where children go to sleep hungry while the world's first trillionaire hungers for more. We see monopolies that dominate every industry and oligarchs who buy elections. We see masked agents terrorizing our streets, eating food cooked by our undocumented neighbors before spiriting them away in unmarked vans. We see a nation whose immense wealth has been built by those with calloused, dirt-streaked hands, those who toil on factory floors and chisel into stone. And we see a nation that has allowed so much of that wealth to be held instead in the soft hands of a precious few.
It's just
wow.
Instead of giving an uplifting message of
that's pure communism.
This is our we as a republic have survived through hardships for 250 years, celebrating what it means to be an American. Yeah. He just can't help himself to get on his soapbox and grandstand.
Yeah, and Elon Musk, who's an immigrant from South Africa, this is a guy. That's who he went after, right? Yeah. This is the guy that Ukraine thanks when they're fighting Russia because of his satellites up there, which gave them communications. He's the guy that just went up and rescued astronauts out of the space station. He's a guy building technology for people whose brains, in certain areas of their brains, if you're paralyzed, there's so many things he's working on that are giving people their lives back. With his technology. He's about to build something either on Mars or the moon that will change a lot of things. This is we need thousands of trillionaires right now, because if the return on the investment is like this guy being a trillionaire, then we need more of them. We need more of them because more of them do great things. This guy is unbelievable. That's just the bottom line. Mamdani is a leftist mayor of New York City. He's going to make nothing better for anybody in New York City. He's just not. I'm betting on Elon.
It's just
it's crazy.
It's exhausting after a while. It's just like the same exact speech day in and day out. Inequality. I'm gonna cry. It annoys. It's ingratiating to me. It's like taking an ice pick and just
It's like listening to Chuck Todd. Like we were talking before.
God.
There's we could play this if we do we have time? Yeah, we got 2 minutes. So we have Dave Portnoy, who wants to run against my guest. Let's hear what Dave has to say. And what's Dave's website? He made all the money. Barstool. Okay, let's hear what Dave. He's a character. There's no doubt about it.
Losing my mind on what's happening right now, especially in New York. Yeah. I mean, you got the Nazi in Maine. This really, really, really worries me. So
you might run against Mamdani.
I would love to run against. If I was going to run, it would be here. Can I win here? I have no idea. I don't know the demographics, whether they get enough votes. There's a lot of people who like me in New York City. I know that. I've done a lot of good in New York City when I wasn't thinking about politics, whether it's the Barstool Fund, pizza places. So it wasn't for show. I've had a real job. I've done real things, unlike these clown politicians who have never had a job and never been in the real world for a day.
Right.
But
he's
the people.
He's making it. And I think politics is moving in this direction. I would think Dave is most likely more of a Democrat or is more left than MAGA or the Republican Party. But maybe the future of winning in these very blue cities is this kind of celebrity Democrat to take out the communist, the Democratic Socialists or whatever. I don't know. I even think in New Jersey, no one's going to win in New Jersey unless it's somebody that comes out of as an entrepreneur or out of like left field that has celebrity, kind of like the Spencer Pratt kind of thing. That is the future of politics. So in a way, I'm not saying he's going to run, but I do take him serious because I think a lot of this is going to come into politics, which might not be a bad thing. Your thoughts?
And it all started with President Trump.
It all started with Trump. That's right. He was the one to do it.
Portnoy, he has some takes that I just shake my head about, but I like to think that he means well.
Yeah.
And I like to think that he cares about, because I remember during COVID, he pledged a lot of, and he donated a lot of money to local pizza places.
Yeah.
His whole big thing is
the pizza tasting.
Yeah. And he's constantly putting out funds for athlete. Like he'll sponsor underprivileged athletes when it comes to like NIL money.
Yeah.
So I generally like to think he means well. He has some takes that make me just roll my eyes.
Yeah,
and,
of course.
He's from Boston. That also makes me roll my eyes. Personal thing with that, but
no problem.
I don't mind.
No, and I'm not even saying him in specific. I'm saying that kind of personality and background could be the future. A lot of the politics in the future, and like you said, Trump's the guy that started it all. And with that, we got to go. It was a great show, Justin. Thanks. I had a lot of fun with you today.
Always a pleasure.
Happy 4th of July to everyone. Enjoy this weekend. It's the 250th anniversary, And America's doing pretty well. So anyone who thinks it's all unraveling, it's not. We're doing pretty good. We'll see you tomorrow morning, 8 to 9 on the Tom Azelby Show.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots.